Can you hear me okay?
Yeah, I can hear you great.
Good, new mic. I love the intro. Everybody else uses like AI intros.
Yeah, I know.
I love that
No
you
AI
made
for us.
No, I love that you made it and it's really good.
Yeah, thank you.
All right, you ready for some funnies?
Yeah, let's do some funnies.
Oh, I just want to announce we're having a beverage date.
Delicious.
This is apple juice.
Delicious apple juice.
Or is it?
No one will ever know.
All right. So last time we decided that I was going to read you like my names for things.
Yeah.
All right. So this one is called Workers Trapped in Sign from Hell.
Workers trapped in what from hell?
Sign
from hell. Got it.
Yeah. Anyway, let me bring it up on the screen.
Let's do it. Workers in hell.
I don't think they're really in hell, but can you see it?
Yep.
Look at that thumbs up. The man appeared to be in good spirits despite being stranded inside this stop sign for hours. Fire officials say the worker was doing maintenance near the Lorenzo Road exit off I-55 in Wilmington when that lift that got him up there experienced a problem. That happened at 11 Tuesday morning. The sign stands about 130 feet tall and has no ladder, which proved to be an issue for responding fire crews whose ladders only reach about 100 feet tall. Crews initially struggled to find equipment tall enough to reach him. They eventually found a specialized lift at a job site in Joliet, and Illinois State Police escorted it to Wilmington. About 5 hours after he became trapped, the worker was seen getting into a crane basket and was brought safely back down. Fire officials say, look at that thumbs.
Wow, that is really terrifying.
How did he get up there? Did they say?
He had a lift that got him up there, and then it broke, so I couldn't get him down.
Okay. So this next one I'm going to call Septic Truck Dumps Poop Water Everywhere.
Oh, no. That sounds terrible. That sounds like a real problem.
That's just what I called it, though. That's not what it's called.
Okay.
It could be called something else.
It could be something completely different, but that's what...
Rainbows and puppies.
Yeah, that's what you've got. Oh! Oh, no. There it goes.
Holy... Oh, my God! What the... Holy...
Gun for. Oh, my God. Where's the front of the car?
I don't know.
That's a terrible situation. I hope the person that was in the car is okay.
Okay, so this next one is kind of crazy.
Okay.
Do you know how like the trend right now for people on like Facebook and TikTok and Instagram is to pretend like they're sitting down for their Netflix interview for their Netflix series?
No, I'm not seeing that yet.
Okay, well, I'm going to show you a woman do it. I'm not going to play any sound for this one, but I will play sound.
Okay.
For like the next video.
Okay.
So let me bring up her. Hold on, that's the wrong one. Oops. I wrote a note to turn. I wrote a note to turn the sound off. And then I put the note for the wrong video.
Oh no.
That's okay. Can you see that?
Yeah, it's playing.
So this is a trend and you'll see it. I have the sound off. People just walk in and sit down for their Netflix documentary that they're not having. They just do this.
Yeah.
Okay, so it says, preparing for when Netflix drops a documentary about my soon-to-be ex-husband who I just found out is a PDF file.
Oh my gosh. I'm sure she does not look happy.
Right. So then Watch this. Oh, I can't wait for you to watch this. You ready?
Yeah, let's do it.
TikToker named Sarah Gilson Duffy posted a video. It looked like she was just copying an online trend where users pretend they're sitting down for an interview about a documentary, about something that happened in their lives. But her video was different. She comes in, she sits in a seat as if she's about to be interviewed or maybe even interrogated. She's acting nervous. She stares at the camera. There's no audio to it, just music. And then across the screen, you see the words, preparing for when Netflix drops a documentary about my soon-to-be ex-husband, who I just found out is a pedophile. If you're watching that video without any context, you might assume it's just another social media trend video. Thousands of people have done it. It's tongue-in-cheek. The joke is just that someday Netflix might make a documentary about some embarrassing, some terrible chapter in your life.
Yep.
The caption to this video suggested there was something a lot more serious than that. It read, "I wish I was joking. Hashtag plot twist, hashtag Netflix, hashtag documentary." Viewers quickly caught on and realized she wasn't kidding. She was talking about something she had just learned about her own husband. As it turned out, Sarah was referring to actual allegations against her husband, Jeremiah Duffy, who was known as Sean. On June 10th of 2026, a local woman filed an application for a protective order against Sean Duffy. The woman said that Sean coached her daughter in youth basketball, said her daughter was a minor, just 15 years old, and Sean had kissed and touched the daughter, and she wanted a protective order for the daughter. Now, according to the filings, another coach had caught Sean, and the mother asked for more information, and the daughter said Sean had done other inappropriate things as well. He had sent the girl text messages. He had invited her to his hotel room during a tournament trip. According to the claims, he even offered her money, quote, to keep her quiet, close quote. The same day, Sarah also filed a protective order against Sean. And it was not the first time she filed. 5 years earlier in 2021, Sarah had filed for a protective order against Sean twice. But both times the petitions were dismissed when Sarah.
All right. What do you think about this so far?
This is wild.
Yeah, we didn't get to the wild part yet.
Really? It's not wild yet? This dude does not need to be coaching anyone. Sarah, stop playing with the monitor.
I don't think he's going to be coaching anybody anymore.
Yeah,
Sarah did not show up for the hearing, so she didn't push it forward, in other words. But now Sarah filed for the third time. She allegedly told the court that her husband, Sean, had a gun and he had threatened self-harm. And she said he was on the run. Protective orders are not something that a court just grants automatically. A judge has to conclude there is enough evidence, enough grounds to issue one, at least temporarily until there can be a hearing. And in this case, the judge evidently did conclude that. This time the judge did issue the order, and it dramatically changed things for Sarah and for Sean. Sean was ordered to stay away from Sarah. He had to stay out of the family home, and he had to remain at least 10 yards away from Sarah at all times. The court entered that order immediately, and on June 23rd, extended it all the way until August 24th. But on July 25th of 2026, Sean Duffy violated that order. He entered the home, and according to police, he shot and killed Sarah, and then shot and killed himself. Their 11-year-old called 911, but by the time authorities arrived, it was too late. Both Sarah and Duffy died of their gunshot wounds. This is so tragic on every level. Your heart just goes out to the 11-year-old son. We don't.
Well, there's not much else to this except that plot twist.
Okay. So they're all dead?
No, the 11-year-old's okay.
They're all unalived?
Yeah. She just posted that not too long ago, and then he broke into her house and did that. Yeah.
Ooh, I mean, Remember in the 90s when there was like the Jerry Springer type shows? And this happened where someone brought someone on a show and confessed. It was like a man confessed to another man that he had a crush on him, and the guy ended up killing him.
Do you want me to bring up the clip from that?
I think it might take too much time, but he unalived him. I apologize.
It's easy to find. I've seen it a bunch of times. The clip of them on Jerry Springer. Was it Jerry Springer?
Or was Maury or one of those shows?
No. It was Jenny Jones.
Jenny Jones, that show. Yeah, whatever happened to Jenny Jones?
I mean, maybe that incident tanked her. I don't know.
I'm sure it did. Yeah, that was a time period where people still got tanked for stuff like that. Now she needs to be famous.
Are you ready to watch an iceberg?
Yeah. There's an iceberg?
Yeah, an iceberg flipped over like right off Greenland, and people witnessed it, and there's time lapse of it. It's really cool.
No, see it.
Okay.
That sounds like something I would be into.
I've got like a couple videos of it.
Oh, sweet. Let's see it. Interesting. Really?
Do you hear it?
Kinda, yeah.
They're creaking.
Yeah, I do hear that. Whoa. Whoa. What? What is going on? Oh, wow. Whoa. Whoa. Oh, wow. Oh, wow. 8 times speed. Let's see it. Whoa. Oh, wow. Oh, wow.
such a good video.
It's a great video.
Yeah. So anyway, somebody else took a video of it that's time lapse from farther away that looks even cooler.
Awesome.
But you don't get the sounds and the whales and
yeah, the whales are the extra
right
sauce. That was really cool though. You don't see anything like that ever.
No. Hold on, let me pause this. If somebody wrote on this really big sped up, like you wouldn't be able to tell.
They gotta be clear.
Wait for it. Are you ready?
Yeah.
Look, sped up. You ready?
Yeah, I see it. Whoa. Oh, wow.
That might even be a different one.
That might be because that's wild.
Probably happens out there all the time. Look how many icebergs there are.
Yeah, the sad thing is it's probably because they're melting, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Because the world is falling apart.
I'm sure. This one is called Fun at the Waffle House.
Oh, there's never fun at the Waffle House. This is going to be a fight.
Yeah. But maybe they're friends and they're having fun.
They could be having fun.
Maybe.
Fun, fighting for fun.
You know what? Let's find out.
What the fuck you mean? What the
I wanted to, but I'm like, damn, let me call him.
why you pushing up on me? Because you're a bitch.
What?
Are you trying to act like you're a bitch? You're a bitch. You're a bitch.
Ooh.
You're a bitch, nigga.
Whoa.
Oh, shit.
Light them up.
Oh, shit.
Oh, wow. That's what he gets for calling him a bitch.
You don't do that.
No. That was surprising.
Next, I have something for you called Gross Airbnb.
Oh, I hate a gross Airbnb. So awkward.
All right. You're going to love it.
The original, it's not even one of my regular ones, but the original cleaners for it came and looked at it today and said, fuck no, not cleaning it. Me, I'll take on any job. I don't care as long as it pays good. So I just want to show you guys this house. Mind you, it's an Airbnb, and it was a woman and her 4 kids. I don't know the ages. I just know it was a woman and 4 kids that stayed here for only 2 weeks. Keep that in mind. Only 2 weeks. Look what they did to this place. This is first walking in. I believe that goes to the couches. Puzzle pieces all over. We're going to start with going upstairs first. It's going to be kind of a long video. Try to go fast, but look at this. Look at these stairs. The hallway. Look at this bathroom.
What is that?
2 weeks and 4 kids.
Ew.
Keep that in mind. 2 weeks. And it smells so bad.
Looks like a crime scene.
This is the cleanest room. This is the cleanest room of the whole house.
Oh, wow.
Wait, let me get... They broke the blinds. That's under the bed. This is the closet. All right, now we're going to go back out. This house is beautiful. I mean, absolutely beautiful, but they destroyed it. This is how it was left. This is what we walked into. So, that's the mirrored closet doors.
It's all boogery.
Yeah, it's gross.
Okay. Yeah, that was left there.
What's the knife for?
I don't know.
Menacing.
I'm at a loss for words. How can a beautiful home get this filthy in 2 weeks? I don't understand it.
That's what
Absolutely disgusting. Why is there hand sanitizer and hand soap in the shower? Like, is that what they were washing with?
Yeah.
These walls, there's stuff all over the walls. I don't know if you noticed this wall. Look, check out this wall.
That's the poop wall.
I can't tell if it's blood or poop.
Okay, this is going back down, right? Just look at the wall. Like, look at on the door. Like, what?
That's gross.
All right, we're going to go back down.
There's a little kid who needs help using the bathroom.
Okay. This is the living room. When I first walked in, I was like, oh, okay, it's not that bad. I don't know if you can see because of the glare, but the window. It's kind of dark, so you can't really see the couches, but I'll show you this part. That's just a little glimpse of the couch.
Yeah, it's poop.
This kitchen, I started cleaning and I was like, yeah, I want to make a video about this because this is, I've never seen anything like this in my life.
Whoa.
Never.
That's gross. Oh no.
Anybody want some waffles?
Oh no.
It's insane to me that something could get this dirty in 2 weeks. Look at the refrigerator handles.
Oh my god.
Like, she has to be an absolute horrible mother and person to allow kids to destroy a home like this, a home that's not even theirs. And she just is like, nah, whatever. I don't care. Right? And don't make the excuse, she may be going through postpartum. Okay, you don't let somebody else's home that allowed you to stay here turn out like this. No, there's no excuse for this. This is horrible parenting.
Who said anything about postpartum?
There's not an inch of this house
I know, right? That's a weird
that is clean. Here's the table. This is what I walked into, by the way. It looks exactly like what I walked into. I don't know if you can see all the handprints and stuff. Okay. I would love to show you guys outside, but it's really dark, so I can make a video tomorrow showing the outside.
Yeah, I'm good.
Yeah. No, thank you.
Look at this toilet.
Yeah, it's the poop toilet. That's the poop sink.
I'll never. I just can't fathom 2 weeks to destroy a home like this, a beautiful home. 2 weeks. Anyway, please don't do this to somebody else's.
I mean, I'll be honest. Somebody did a really poor job cleaning up after themselves, but I mean,
How much would somebody have to pay you to clean that Airbnb? And clean it to the point where it's ready for new guests?
at least $500.
Okay.
How about you?
Probably a little bit more, but not much more. I'd probably do it for like $600 or $700 because you figure you have to scrub all the walls.
Yeah.
You have to use like one of those little Bissell furniture cleaners to like steam clean all the poop furniture. So you have to clean everything, but it's not that big of a place.
Exactly. Yeah.
It's like small living room, small dining room, small kitchen.
And there was a lot of stains on stuff, but a lot of the stuff was just like loose puzzle pieces and garbage. Like it's just sweep real
Yeah,
quick,
you can
clean
sweep
it
that up.
Yeah.
What do I have next? Oh, this one's called He's Into Turtles.
Oh, I like a turtle.
Yeah. I don't know if you'll like this turtle.
Oh, yeah.
Well, I don't really understand it.
Is
So
this
maybe,
a bad turtle?
maybe after we watch it, you can explain this turtle to me.
Okay.
Can you see it?
Not yet.
Let me know when it's up.
Okay.
Is it up?
No, still waiting. Hasn't popped up yet.
Oh, let me.
There
we
it is.
go.
Whoa.
Okay. That's the turtle.
Back here live at the Waterfront Village with my friend, the zombie, Jonathan. You're looking good. Jonathan just got an awesome face paint job. What do you think?
I like turtles.
All right. You're great, zombie. And good times here at the Waterfront Village, open for the next 11 days. So
I like turtles.
Yeah. I'm sorry.
It's a good non sequitur.
This one's called. Sorry, I only have like 3 more. This one's called Pandas Are Dumb.
Okay, I don't believe that. I think pandas are smart.
No, they're really dumb.
Whatever.
I promise you. Let me know when it's up.
It's up. Wait for it. Wait for it. Whoa! Oof. 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 Whoa! Oh my goodness. What? It's a poorly constructed ladder or bridge. Oh, I mean, who hasn't done that?
Me, I haven't done that.
Oh, he's having a good time.
We started
Oh,
over.
whoa.
This one's called Disgruntled by Too Much Yacht Rock.
No such thing. Fake news.
That's just what I'm calling it. That's
Yeah.
not. It's called Florida Man something. Tell me when it's up.
It's up. Ooh. Whoa. That dude's not happy. Well, is that guy coming back? Did he die? Nobody
I don't know.
knows.
See what the article says. I mean, do you want to find out?
No, I don't care.
He's found guilty of murder.
Whoa. Yeah, no, that guy's dead. That guy's unalive. That is crazy.
And here's my next one, but it's kind of a long one.
Okay.
Okay. Let me get this on playback speed of 1.25. Okay. Now, I've seen this video, but this is like an update to it, but it's going to show you what happened.
Okay.
We'll start. Okay, we can just
I'm so lost right now. I'm scared to death. Recently, I posted a YouTube short about a video that I did back in September of 2025. A man buys his dream truck, then gets arrested for driving a stolen truck. That was the video where the Coast Guard officer buys a truck from a car dealership, and then, for some reason, the car dealership falsely reports the truck is stolen, and then he gets arrested at gunpoint and interrogated by clueless detectives.
I promise you, I ain't trying to steal anything. I have no idea
what happened, but it's not me trying to steal a truck.
That short went over 6 million views, with many of you asking whatever happened to that situation and is there an update? So I thought to myself, that's actually a great question. So I reached out to Shane, the guy from the video, and his lawyers agreed to an interview and to tell you everything that's happened since my first video. And also they provided me with all of the raw footage, including some never before seen body cam footage of this incident.
Look at us. Keep going, keep going. Turn around, turn around, turn around, turn around, turn around. Put your hands behind your back. Come on, come here. Oh.
The new footage shed some new light on how this actually ended up happening.
Welcome to the Low Jack and Caution Stolen Vehicle Recovery Hotline.
And that's a car that was in the inventory?
We did a little more research to see maybe if it was sold or something, but
And it wasn't.
we checked all our sister stores just to make sure you guys don't pull up on someone that's wrong delivery or something.
It's always at the same spot.
Always the same spot. It starts somewhere and then it ends up there again. At the airport.
Turn around, turn around, turn around, turn around, turn around. Put your hands behind your back. Come on, come here. What is going on?
Total loss right now.
Maybe I don't know how to pronounce Shane's last name properly. How do you pronounce his name? Is it Sprague or Sprague?
Sprague.
Sprague. Shane had texted me Sprague with a long A. I was thinking it was Sprague because my middle name is Haig, spelled the same way.
Sprague, S-P-R-A-G-U-E.
S-P-R-A.
G-U-E. Shane Sprague.
And what about as far as pronunciation goes, your name?
Ignacio. Or everybody calls me Iggy. I-G-G-Y, Iggy.
You're Shane's lawyer in the civil lawsuit against Doral Volkswagen.
Yes.
Did he ever end up getting the truck at all?
No, the car was returned to the dealership. The dealership canceled the contract and returned the funds that he had put down as a deposit.
Why is that? I mean, if this was his dream truck, why not still conclude the deal?
The car was crashed. The Broward Sheriff's Office crashed into the car to pin the vehicle from preventing it to escape. So the car had damage.
I wish you guys would have my truck. What's that? I said I wish you guys would have hit my truck. I just got it.
I got some advice after this. I'll just tell you straight up. You can sue. That's a thing.
Let's go through it. Our personal information is all over the internet, and it's used against us by the government. On June 20th, 2025, Shane spotted his dream truck, a 2024 GMC AT4X, listed for sale at Doral Volkswagen. Through a friend who managed a nearby Subaru dealership, he was connected directly with Doral Volkswagen's general manager, Chris Renka, who promised to take good care of him.
Hi, I'm Chris Renka, general manager of Doral Volkswagen. Please come and visit us. We can provide you the best customer service.
The next morning, Shane arrived for his appointment, test drove the truck, and he spent the next several hours working out a deal.
He's a friend of a friend of mine's mom. So Chris kind of helped work the deal.
They agreed on a purchase price of $61,239. Doral accepted his Ford Focus as a trade-in, and Shane put down $12,000 towards the purchase, with both sides agreeing that he would pay the remaining $3,000 of the down payment as soon as the initial payment had cleared. By mid-afternoon, the deal appeared complete. Shane electronically signed the paperwork, the dealership transferred the title and registration, installed his new license plate, handed him the registration and copies of the sales documents. They even took celebratory photos of Shane with his new truck, his dream truck, and sent him on his way. Proud of his purchase, Shane drove straight to his family's home to show off what he considered his dream truck. The next morning, after his down payment cleared, Shane called and texted the dealership to let them know that the remaining $3,000 was ready to be paid anytime. And later that day, he spoke with the finance manager, Frank Garcia, who told him that everything looked good and that he should expect a text message from the finance company to set up his payment account on the loan. Nobody mentioned any problems with the sale. The following week, Shane heard nothing from Doral Volkswagen. No phone calls, no emails, no texts. Then, on July 1st, everything changed. After finishing work at the U.S. Coast Guard station near Miami, Shane drove to a routine physical therapy appointment in Tamarack, Florida. While he was inside his physical therapy appointment, Shane received a congratulatory text from the finance company, as he was told would happen, welcoming him and inviting him to set up his online payment account. So it seemed to Shane like confirmation that everything about the purchase was now finalized. But an hour later, Shane walks back to his truck. He starts it and he begins to back out of his parking space. But suddenly, a black Ford F-150 slammed into the rear of his truck, jolting him forward and locking his seatbelt. As he opens his door to see what had happened, he looks up in shock and he finds several Broward County Sheriff's deputies racing towards him from basically every direction.
It's always Broward County.
Truck, guns drawn and shouting commands.
They're always on
Hands
this
up! Hands up!
Yeah.
They're always on this guy's YouTube channel. These police officers.
I got you. Go with them. I'm with them. No guns on you right here? All right, you shut up like a scout.
I got you.
All right, walk towards me. Walk towards me. Look at us. Look at us.
Look at us. Keep going, keep going. Turn around, turn around, turn around, turn around, turn around. Put your hands behind your back. Come on, come here.
What's going on?
Give me, you have an extra pair now. Sorry, let me get an extra pair. Let me get an extra pair.
Anybody else with you?
No. Nobody else with you? No. What's happening, guys?
Hey,
Everything
driver's side approach, Barry. Got it? I'm going down. Driver's side approach. Got it?
What?
I got nothing on me.
How did you just stick the other cop's butt?
Yeah, it's a weird move. I don't know what that was supposed to be.
Take a seat right now. Actually, we're gonna put you wherever you guys want.
Very
Yeah.
What's our walk in real quick? Hold on real quick. 43 good is 43.
Yeah.
Shane is handcuffed and placed in the rear of the police cruiser, and the body cam shows that Shane is completely dumbfounded and has no idea what is going on.
We're going to send everything to you. I'm just going to get your information first.
Yeah.
What's your first name?
Shane.
S-H-A-N-E.
S-H-A-N-E.
Last name?
Sprague. S-P-R-A. G-U-E.
S-P-R-A.
G-U-E.
G-U-E.
Can you guys tell me what's going on?
So the lead detective is going to come over here and explain everything to you. Just give us a second. Right here. All right, okay.
You have their number or no?
Yeah.
Just see if he wants to just have us take him 1019 and he can interview.
That's what I was gonna do.
Where are you going?
Huh?
Can I call him straight now?
Yeah, I got you.
Are you the military? I am. I'm acting Coast Guard. Yeah, I'm the maintenance officer for the Coast Guard Air Station in Milwaukee. I have no idea what's happening right now.
I'm trying to get the main detective to come here.
Yeah, well, I don't want to like jump the gun and explain everything to you. Or I'm a detective. It's gonna do that, so I don't want
explain everything to you.
I don't want
It's a little lost right now.
Yeah, he'll make more sense of what's going on. Wait, I wish I could just go ahead and tell you, but I don't want to step on my toes.
Right now, you're just detained, pending an investigation, so you're not arrested. They're going to come over here, they're going to talk to you, they're going to tell you everything that's going on. So you can understand, because I know you're confused right now.
Yeah.
So they'll come over here and they'll explain everything to you.
Yeah, whatever you guys need.
He's like a really nice, calm guy.
Yeah, he is really nice. And he's like a Coast Guard guy, so he probably is sympathetic.
Yeah.
Hey, be nice, man.
I wish you guys would have my truck. What's that? I said I wish you guys would have my truck. I just got it. Yeah, I just got the text message that my payment stuff just started.
For the truck?
Yeah.
I'll take you back to the office more likely so you can talk to them there formally and they can explain it as well.
Would you show me something to come here real quick before we take you, or?
But you're not being charged anything right now. You're not under arrest for any crime right now. You're just being investigated for something.
Something that's making me wrong. I'm so lost right now.
Your time is done, right? Yeah. Hey, you just had some money in your phone and your wallet, okay? I'm gonna go back in and okay?
You guys gonna take my truck or how? I think my son's up in Yoga. So how anybody can come get my truck?
Okay, I don't know what's happening with your truck right now. Just get the detective to see it. They're, like I said, they're going to explain everything to you.
Yeah, I know.
Step out one more time. I'm just going to search you since you're getting my vehicle. I know they probably already did a good job, but I just want to double check, okay? You don't have another pair of shorts on this, do you?
Nope, they're like,
liner pants, whatever trucks. I'm just going to stick you.
No, there's not.
I'm scared to death.
You don't have to go over there, so.
Once Shane is rammed, ordered out of his truck at gunpoint, and then handcuffed and placed in a police cruiser, it's undisputed that he's been seized under the Fourth Amendment. Since there was no arrest warrant, probable cause is required if they want to arrest him. The problem is, they don't even know who he is. And once they take him into custody, they don't seem interested in even finding out. They don't get his ID. They don't even ask him any questions. At no point did they have probable cause to arrest Shane Sprague. Really, what they should be doing here in this parking lot of the physical therapy place is what they are allowed to do under the Fourth Amendment, which is conduct a limited investigatory detention in order to learn who he is and why he is driving this truck that Doral Volkswagen has reported stolen. Consistent with the Fourth Amendment, an officer may perform a limited investigatory detention of someone whom he reasonably suspects has committed criminal activity. Such stops may last only as long as necessary to achieve their limited investigatory purpose.
And like this guy can prove he bought it, you know?
Yeah, no, this is Broward County is completely wasting his time.
this. Here, there's no doubt that the officers had reasonable suspicion to detain Shane in order to investigate the situation. But here's the problem. They seized him in a dramatic fashion, in a manner that endangered his life and damaged his property, and then they just held him in handcuffs for about an hour without conducting any investigation whatsoever. That's not a limited investigatory stop that lasts only as long as necessary. And for that reason alone, they violated Shane's Fourth Amendment rights. Additionally, they possessed zero information about Shane, indicating that he was armed or what is going on.
Shane. All right. So listen, there's a reason why we're here. We just need to talk.
Yeah, obviously.
A couple questions. Just a formality. We're just gonna ask you a couple questions. Essentially, what we're about to do is a formality. You know, it's obviously regarding your Miranda rights. I'll read you. I'll go through the process, and basically, depending on what your determination is, what you want to do, we can go from there. Okay. So today is Tuesday, July the 1st. The time is 4:58. I'm Detective Pino, ID 864, and in the room I'm here with
Sergeant Colin on 446.
Detective Blanco 19741, and I'm here with
Shane Sprague.
Shane Sprague.
You have the right to remain silent. Anything you say may be used against you in court.
So obviously, we need to talk to you in reference to the incident for today. Okay. I'm gonna be honest with you. It's about your car. Okay. What I want to know is how you got the car, when you got the car, by what means. Just give me the rundown, how everything started with it.
Let's see. I'm super nervous. So go. All right. Doral Volkswagen.
Okay.
Last Saturday.
Okay. Well, you know around what time?
I think I finished around 2 p.m.
Okay. You went to Doral Volkswagen with the intention.
To purchase a new vehicle.
Okay. And then what happened after that?
Showed up. They came out. I said, "Hey, I had that vehicle particular picked out. I called in the morning."
Who'd you speak with?
The first time I spoke with just a regular person, but then when I got there, Ollie was my sales representative.
Is that a nickname or is that his full name?
I think that's his full name. That's what his business card says.
Okay.
And then I also spoke with the general service manager. His first name is Chris.
Okay.
And he's a friend of a friend of mine's mom.
Okay.
So Chris kind of helped work the deal. Test drove the truck. Was exactly what I wanted. Pulled back in. They looked over. We agreed on a price.
Any documents were given?
Yeah.
You have the sales documents?
In my house, yeah.
At your house?
Mm-hmm.
And the sales documents have everything for that?
Everything, yeah.
Okay.
Really, I would say easier because I hadn't bought a car in, 15 years. I drive an old Tacoma that my son now drives. I don't know if any of you guys are Tacoma fans, but I almost cried when I had to go.
I can imagine.
But yeah, it was super easy. Everything was online. I have a disc with all the paperwork.
Okay, so they gave you a disc?
Yeah. Okay. It's like a USB thumb drive.
Do you remember who exactly was the sales representative? I know you said Ali, but any other, any nicknames or any last name, business card, anything?
I have his business card. Yeah, I have his business card.
Okay, so then you did the documents for the purchase of the vehicle, and then what happened after that?
Did the documents, went to the finance manager.
Okay.
Went to finance manager, did all our financing.
You drove it today to the Coast Guard Bay?
Okay. And then back to physical therapy.
Eventually, the detectives tell Shane that his new truck had been reported stolen by the Doral Volkswagen dealership. Shane is completely surprised by this, and he tells the detectives that he legitimately purchased the truck from that dealership. He tells them that he has proof of this on his phone.
The reason why you're in this position, so the vehicle was reported stolen out of the dealership. Okay. It could be a miscommunication on their end because it was Doral Volkswagen that basically reported it as stolen.
Yeah.
Were you given both sets of keys?
Only one key.
Only one key.
Yeah.
Okay. And did you ask for where this?
Yes, I did. And they said they couldn't find a second key.
Okay. So just to confirm, at Saturday at 2 p.m. approximately is when you went to go buy that truck.
No, I got there at 9 in the morning.
What time did you drive off?
Like 2 p.m.
One of the detectives tells Shane that the plate on his dream truck is actually registered to a Chevy pickup that is sitting right now at the Doral Volkswagen dealership lot. And rather than asking Doral Volkswagen to explain how this is possible, they're asking Shane, who is clearly confused because he had no way of knowing about the mistake made by the dealership.
I just want to add like a quick little thing in here because it may have relevance, it might not. The first Volkswagen I ever bought, I had trouble getting something for it, like service or insurance. And I mean, this was like 20 years ago. So I don't remember what it was. But whenever they sold it to me, they gave me the VIN number for a Jetta instead of a Tiguan SUV.
Yeah.
Which is what I bought. So I had a hard time reconciling the VIN the entire time I had this car. And when I traded it in on a new car, they had a complication and were trying to give me a hard time about it at the dealership. And I was like, you guys caused this problem. You can figure it out. This is where I bought it. But I think maybe they screw things up like VIN numbers sometimes.
Yeah,
like,
I
from what
can
this
only
sounds
imagine.
like.
Well, this is ridiculous because as the host pointed out, why didn't they go back to the dealership and just say, hey, this guy says he bought the car. He talked to your finance guy. What's going on? Instead, they're like grilling this poor guy and like treating him like a criminal. It's ridiculous.
Do you see this guy sitting here in the green?
Yeah.
He believes this guy. You can tell. Look at him.
Yeah.
What did you have previous? It's a Toyota, Ford Focus.
Under your name? Mm-hmm. Okay. And that tag, where'd you get the tag from?
That tag, the tag that's on the truck was a tag that was on the car, and they transferred the tag at the dealer.
So you got the tag from the dealer, and they told you they were going to transfer the tag?
Yeah, the registration's in the gold box.
So the tag that was on the truck today
was on my Focus.
Okay, so it was previously on your car.
Yeah,
so it's your tag.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And it was on a Focus previously?
Mm-hmm. 2012 Ford Focus. Frank. Is a service manager.
The tag that you have on the truck now, that's the tag that was on the Focus?
That was the tag that was on the Focus.
Have you ever owned a Chevy?
No.
No?
I mean, a Blazer, like when I was in high school.
What color?
Black.
You've never owned a Chevrolet truck?
No.
And
what's your name? Your name?
Shane.
Shane. All right. So the tag that was on your truck, all right, comes back to a Chevy pickup. Right? And the Chevy pickup's under your name.
Should be that Chevy pickup. That GMC pickup.
No. So the tag that's attached to the truck now, when we run that tag, it comes back to a Chevy pickup under your name.
What?
So stupid.
So
right. Why are they grilling him?
Well, I don't want to say it was never attached.
Just looking up the if anything pertaining to the purchase of the vehicle, you can absolutely do that.
Finally, the detectives gave Shane his phone, and he was able to show them proof that he had purchased the GMC truck from that dealership, including the text messages that he had exchanged with the salesman, Ali. Those text messages actually showed Shane's license plate on the GMC truck that he had purchased. Shane encouraged them to go ahead and call Ali and confirm what he's telling them. So one of the detectives does just that, and he then exits the interview room to have that conversation.
And I promise you guys, I ain't trying to steal anything. I have no idea what happened, but it's not me trying to steal a truck. I'm just going to ask a stupid question. Do you think somehow that tag was transferred or stolen?
So the only thing is, I mean, even if it was, transferred incorrectly, it's still the fact that they were doing inventory and then they noticed the truck was missing.
Oh, here's some more messages. This was from my sales guy.
That's the sales guy?
Yeah, this is here. We can get in the truck. Ali.
Okay.
There's it. Yeah, that's from the dealer. Leave it in the truck.
Yeah. Can we call him?
Yeah, absolutely.
Hi, is this Ali? How you doing, Ali? Sorry, hold on.
The main detective is realizing that there's been a mistake, and he tells Shane that this is just a formality, that this is a routine investigation. He says that this is why we interview people, ignoring the fact that Shane was brought there in handcuffs after having been rammed by a vehicle and apprehended at gunpoint well over an hour earlier. Hardly.
So I want to see what the resolution is. Shane's lawsuit. Okay.
Yeah.
As I explained in the first video I did on this from back in September of last year, Shane filed a lawsuit against Doral Volkswagen. Mr. Alvarez is his lawyer in that case, and he gave me an update on the current status of that lawsuit. So obviously a mistake was made somewhere. Who made the mistake?
The dealership. The dealership entered the wrong VIN into the system. They've had a series of stolen cars at the dealership. The cop asked them 4 times, are you sure this car is stolen?
And the car wasn't sold or anything like that, right?
We checked everywhere. We checked when it was last titled. Last time it was titled in 2024.
That's the car that was in your inventory?
We did a little more research to see maybe if it was sold or something, but
And it wasn't.
we checked all our sister stores just to make sure you guys don't pull up on someone and it's wrong delivery or something.
So I'm sure you guys didn't sell it.
And it's been here 43 days.
Okay.
Somebody at the dealership during the process where Shane is purchasing his truck, somebody inserts the wrong truck's VIN number into the paperwork.
The financial person, the person that did the financing.
All he does is use the wrong VIN number at some point in the paperwork.
He did everything else correct. The price was correct. The payoff was correct. Everything was correct. He just entered a VIN for a Silverado, not for the GMC.
And the paperwork didn't say it was a Silverado. It said the GMC.
My client never saw the paperwork. My client signed an iPad and was told we will transfer the signature to the paperwork. He was given a flash drive and said, go on in your merry way. Goodbye. So he never reviewed the paperwork. He never signed off for the paperwork. He had no idea. He got congratulated by the salesperson when they sent him a picture, and he drove off.
I mean, there really can't be any dispute that your client wouldn't have had the VIN number to this other Silverado on their lot.
They had to file a lawsuit. Like, why aren't they giving him a free brand new truck?
Why are they bending over backwards to try
That's
to
what I'm
like?
saying. Here's a free truck. We're so
And why?
sorry.
And why does the Broward County Police Department just take some dealership's word for it and then ram into some guy's car and pull him out at gunpoint? It's like, what kind of cowboy cops are they?
Yeah, it's ridiculous.
To insert into his own paperwork.
Correct. It was all done by the financial person.
Right. So Shane takes the vehicle home. He has no idea anything's wrong. At the end of the month, the dealership is doing whatever they're doing at the end of the month.
Their audit, the monthly audit.
They realize that there's a problem.
Correct.
They're tracking the truck just via the LoJack, and they track it to this parking lot in Broward County.
Not Doral. What happens is they notify LoJack that the car is stolen, and LoJack sends out a message. The closest unit, in this case it was Broward Sheriff's Office, tracks the car to that location.
Okay, so this wasn't a situation where there was any sort of arrest warrant issued or anything like that, or no court order at all. It was just LoJack sending out some sort of APB to local law enforcement.
Correct. The local law enforcement will have a LoJack system in their car, and then they get an alert when they're near something that's a hit, and that's how they follow the car.
So at that point, when they arrive at the parking lot, they don't even know who the suspect is who's driving the vehicle. Is that right?
They have no idea. All they know is that car is stolen, or is reported stolen.
At this point, when the arrest occurred, that was Broward County Sheriff's Office.
Yes, sir.
So as far as you know, was there any communication between Doral and Broward Sheriff's deputies prior to the arrest taking place?
I have no idea. I have no idea. The information I got is just LoJack.
What did they do with Shane after they arrested him?
They took him to the station and put him in a cell.
Did they take him to Doral or did they take him to Broward's office?
The Broward local station.
Okay, and then presumably they then contacted the Doral detectives and waited for them to arrive?
Correct.
So what was it that Shane told them or that they realized during the interrogation that caused them to realize that there was a mistake here?
Shane provided pictures of him driving off in the car from the dealership and was able to show them the paperwork of the purchase. And then it is my understanding that Doral contacted the dealership to verify everything, and that's when they realized there was a mistake.
And so at that point, they let him go?
Yes, sir. After that, Shane contacts me. I tell him that go get the car at the tow agency on the very minimum to stop accruing the fees because it was over July 4th weekend. And when he got there is when he realized his paperwork didn't match the vehicle they had there. He then contacts Volkswagen, the dealership. They send that same investigator out that went to the base. And the investigator basically tells him, if you want the correct registration to get your car, sign this release. And Shane did not sign the release. He never got the paperwork. He left. And the dealership ended up getting the car themselves.
What happened to all of Shane's stuff that was in his truck?
He was given the opportunity to get everything out.
Did he ever end up getting the truck at all?
No, the car was returned to the dealership. The dealership canceled the contract and returned the funds that he had put down as a deposit back to him.
Why is that? I mean, if this was his dream truck, why not still conclude the deal?
The car was crashed. The Broward Sheriff's Office crashed into the car to pin the vehicle from preventing it to escape. So the car had damage.
Do you think that was appropriate?
I was a cop for 25 years. When all you know is that there's a stolen vehicle, you know that 9 times out of 10, that vehicle is going to try to flee if it's stolen. So what they did was pin the vehicle so the vehicle cannot go anywhere when they came out to take him into custody. So is it appropriate based on the facts of the circumstances what Broward Sheriff's Office did? I believe so.
Other than the belief that the vehicle was stolen, they had no other information indicating that anybody was armed or dangerous inside the vehicle, right?
Listen, and I'm speaking as me as a cop. I'm going home tonight, and I'm going to do everything possible to make sure I stay safe. If I can avoid getting into a vehicle chase with a car, a lot of times these stolen cars travel very recklessly and innocent people die. If I can limit that opportunity, I'm going to take that opportunity. So I get what Broward Sheriff's Office did.
I've covered lots of so-called felony stops, many of which were mistaken ID cases. I don't know if I've ever seen one where they rammed the vehicle as a part of their routine felony stop procedures. Do you know whether Broward Sheriff's Office, whether that's within their...
So I guess he's suing them. This is insane. Why did they have to ram the truck?
That's what the lawyer was just saying, because
it was
nine times out of 10 they're going to try to run. So they ram the truck.
Fine, and block them from behind. You have to ram them.
I guess they have to ram them.
It's not a Dodge Ram.
It wasn't. It was a GMC.
That was my not funny joke. All right. So down to business.
Vanessa, turn up the gain on your mic a little bit because it's hard to hear you when the video's playing.
How about that?
That's way louder. Yeah, that's better.
Too loud?
A little too loud, but you want to be able to hear you over the video. So,
okay. So we can cover the Turtleverse, David, Nolan Wells, Lindsay Clancy, or Bricks and Minifigs.
Let's start with Nolan Wells.
We'll start with Lindsay Clancy because that one's quick.
Then you just
okay.
Whatever you want to do.
Lindsay Clancy trial begins tomorrow.
Okay.
Monday. So that's Monday, the 27th of July. Jury seated, 18 total, 6 men, 12 women. That's it. That's my update.
All we know.
Well, I mean, they did jury selection all week, so and argued like pretrial motions and stuff like that.
There is a jury now.
Oh yeah. They have a jury. And it's 6 men, 12 women. They had some jurors that are like, I need to be excused from this. I can't do it.
Really?
Yeah, they had that issue with 2 of them.
Oh wow.
So now we can do Nolan Wells.
Okay.
And this is really wild. So, you know, the last time I talked to you about this, I told you I watched like the funeral.
Yeah.
And it's really nice.
Yeah.
And Tyler Perry paid for it, but it was like kind of like a civil rights thing / funeral. Like it was kind of both. Anyway, now they're interviewing like his friends that he was on the boat with.
Okay, who is?
This guy named Officer Tatum. Yeah. And we don't have to go watch all these. Here he is.
All right, hold on. All right.
The Officer Tatum. And here are some of his. They lied about Nolan Wells. Meltdown. They mad. Black people mad. Another Nolan Wells best friend. Did Nolan Wells' family just get busted in a massive lie? What really happened to him? The truth.
Dang.
And then, yeah.
This guy's really sounding the alarm about Nolan Wells.
Look, it's got a picture of the mom in the middle. It says exposed. And it has Nolan, then Nolan's mom, then Ben Crump. I don't understand. Is this guy like the Hodge twins, like black conservative?
Possibly.
Crump exposed.
It says
She
he's
lied.
he calls himself Officer Tatum, right? So he's likely at least sympathetic to law enforcement.
Right, but I don't think anyway. So he's doing all these videos with like I don't know if I want to support this guy and share his stream on here.
Sure. Yeah, let's not do that.
But-
Let's not platform anyone.
Yeah, I don't want to platform him specifically. I don't know anything about him. And I'm not really sure about him, so
Yeah, let's not do that.
right. But these kids that he was with, they're all very bright, believable, well-spoken, but I don't know why they're saying like his mom lied. I don't think she did. But you know, like just let it play out. I'm glad that these kids, if they're innocent, have a platform where they're speaking.
Yeah.
Because everybody's kind of making them out to look really bad. Really bad.
Yeah, but you gotta wonder what the motivation behind the person who is interviewing them is, and if their motivation is to actually find the truth or just to color the truth with their version of it, and you don't know.
I will say this Officer Tatum guy on his YouTube channel, I did watch it's like 4 or 5 videos with the first friend that spoke out, and he did a good job. It was tasteful. He didn't ask any provocative questions.
Right.
Interview. When I looked looked at the rest of his channel, and it's like everything's like they lied. I'm like, I don't how I feel about this. Like, is this like shady or I'm not sure. So I'm not going to platform him right now, but if anybody wants to see it, if you want to see it.
Okay.
What do you want to do now? Turtleverse, David, or Bricks and Minifigs? These are all longer.
Let's do Turtleboy.
All right, you've got some reading to do.
Okay.
So Gretchen Voss is a I wrote in the description for this. She's a blogger for Boston Magazine, and she just wrote a piece that's long form inside the campaign that acquitted Karen Reed. And I'm going to send it to you, and I'm going to have you read it.
Okay. Where are you sending it to?
I'm going to send it in the private chat here.
Okay.
If that's okay.
Yeah. All right. You want me to share it?
Yeah. Bring it up while you read it. Sure.
Okay. Let me get to it.
Let's just share it. I'll present it. We'll swap roles.
Okay.
Okay.
Here it comes.
I see it.
Oh, I got to get rid of this. Boston Sunday. Come on in. It's free. Sign up.
You better sign up.
I'm not signing up. Watch
Hit
this.
the little X on top right.
I didn't see that. All right. Inside the campaign that acquitted Karen Reed. For 3 years, the witnesses in the Karen Reed murder trial were harassed at their jobs, their homes, their children's sports games. It wasn't random. It wasn't a movement of true believers. It was a coordinated campaign against them, and now they're fighting back. Who is this person?
Right? Like, did you watch the trial, lady?
Gretchen
or either
Voss?
of the trials? Yeah. Like, Gretchen, did you watch either of these trials? Like we did, with an open mind. And it was pretty clear this lady's innocent.
Jennifer McCabe spotted him coming across the bleachers at her daughter's lacrosse game. Yes, I remember this video very well.
Yeah, we watched it.
Yeah, we did.
I think our first show together.
Yeah. Aiden Carney. Yeah, Carney. Excuse me. I just said it wrong. The blogger who goes by the name of Turtleboy arrived in a mask and then pulled it off. He wasn't hiding. He shoved his phone, the video rolling, into her face. Hey, Jen, are you worried about what's going to happen to your family when you go to jail? She looked straight ahead from under her baseball cap, trying to ignore him, trying to disappear as other parents gawked. Jen, did you think you could outsmart Karen Reed? Yes or no? School officials eventually moved in and escorted Carney from the stadium in Billerica, but he didn't go quietly. Cop killers, that's what they are. They're cop killers, he hollered as they walked him out. The cop he was referring to was John O'Keefe.
Wouldn't they be cop killer, not killers? Or is the plural like they killed multiple cops?
No, I think the plural is on there are multiple people.
Yeah, okay.
And they're all killers.
Okay.
But that is confusing. You're right. It sounds grammatically like the plural.
Clumsy.
Yeah,
it's clumsy.
Anyway, the single cop he was referring to was John O'Keefe, a Boston police officer found dead in the snow in Canton on the morning of January 29, 2022. He had last been seen alive earlier that night after drinking at 2 local bars when he got into Reed's Lexus SUV with her during a nor'easter. After Reed was indicted for manslaughter and then second-degree murder in 2022, she maintained her innocence, claiming that the people inside the house where she dropped O'Keefe off, Brian Albert, his nephew Colin, and O'Keefe's close friend McCabe, were the ones responsible for his death. She argued they were able to cover it up thanks to a conspiracy involving dozens of people, including officials from the Norfolk County District Attorney's Office, the Massachusetts State Police, Canton Police, first responders, and expert witnesses. Carney was the first to report this alternative theory, raising questions about what had, until then, been seen as an open and shut case, at least on the manslaughter charge. I don't think that's accurate.
Anyway. Most of this is inaccurate, but I'll tell you this, like, before you go any further, like, they're at the bottom, there are already retractions made, and there are going to be more. I might start pointing stuff out when it's wrong. You can too. I mean, feel free, because this is really bad writing because it's not accurate. Like, I don't even think this person has an editor.
I don't know that Karen Reed ever formally accused anyone of killing John O'Keefe. She just maintained her innocence. This idea that Brian Albert or Colin or Jen McCabe or any of them were involved.
Definitely has accused. I don't think that she has done it in a formal way. But
that's what I'm getting at. This paragraph maintains that her defense was accusing them, and that's not what happened.
It kind of was in the first trial.
I think this is written and get out of here. What is going on?
It's free. Come on in. The first trial was definitely like, alternate theories, alternate suspects. The second one was more like a car didn't hit the guy, so she couldn't have done it.
Yeah. Anyway,
it was two different tactics.
Carney's coverage. He has published more than 550 blog posts in his Canton cover-up series, along with thousands of tweets and hundreds of live streams, spawned a Free Karen Reed movement that spread across Massachusetts and beyond. Fueled by a quasi-religious fervor, the movement cast the witnesses as villains and public enemies, accusing them of framing an innocent woman to evade justice. None of the witnesses was ever charged with a crime, but the rage unleashed against them
Here we go. You got it.
Irrevocably altered their lives. Ever since that first post, and even today, McCabe says she receives frequent phone calls, voices on the line calling her evil bitch and worse, and Facebook messages accusing her of being a murderer. People drive by her house, take pictures, and send them to her to let her know they are watching. One time, someone edited a photograph of McCabe's daughter and added the caption "Property of Turtleboy." That's poor taste, as well as digitally generated team. Whoa! I don't even want to read that. McCabe's email and bank accounts have been hacked.
Hold on. I've never seen that.
What?
Like, did she fact check this? Did she see the photo? This writer? The author, did she see this digital photo?
I don't know. I feel like there's a lot of I feel like this article is a lot less factual and a lot more.
This is an opinion piece, and a lot of it so far sounds like speculative, made up. Somebody told her this happened, therefore it's gospel. It's weird.
Like that paragraph I was pointing out earlier. What struck me about that is this.
And who posted this? Like, who posted this gross picture?
Right. Yeah. That
you don't say who did that.
No, I don't. I mean, I don't know if that happened or not. I don't really care. I think this whole article is. It's trying to paint the Karen Reed and Turtleboy's relationship as one where they came up with this idea to get Karen Reed off the case or whatever, which is ridiculous. Where was I? McCabe's email and bank accounts have been hacked. People wore t-shirts and hoodies with her picture, which at one point were the hottest selling items in Turtleboy's website merch store. Similar harassment also played out for the other witnesses. What few people know, though, is that the harassment of the witnesses and anyone who dared to question Reed's defense, including this reporter who has covered the case since its early days, was in fact orchestrated by Reed herself and at times coordinated with her defense team. According to now public text exchanges between Reed and Carney, often through an intermediary, Reed dictated to Carney exactly what he should write and how. Her attorneys leaked confidential information to him, and together they orchestrated the harassment of the witnesses. All the while, Reed's camp publicly denied any contact with Carney. Even the line, "Did you think you could outsmart Karen Reed?" that Carney spat at McCabe as she shrank into herself at that lacrosse game had been dictated by Reed. Okay, where's the evidence?
Right. I mean, some of the things that she says are true. Like, Karen sometimes would tell Turtleboy about things so that he would write about them. That did happen. She also tried to reach out to all these other media outlets that weren't writing about it. So she wanted media coverage. She really wanted help. Anyway, let's go on, because this turns into a hit piece on Adam Deitch.
Equally troubling, it seems that Reed's legal team brought their case to the U.S. Attorney's Office for the District of Massachusetts. A federal inquiry into the handling of the police investigation into O'Keefe's death followed. This federal investigation, which departed from standard investigative practices in ways that legal experts have questioned, resulted in Reed's defense team gaining access to evidence they might not have otherwise obtained, including lead state police investigator Michael Proctor's personal text messages. Well, you'd be mad about that one, but he deserves that to be out there in the public. The federal investigation ultimately went nowhere, but its mere existence lent legitimacy to Carney's accusations, gave much of the public the impression that the witnesses might be perpetrators of the crime, and quite possibly affected the outcome of the trial itself. Meanwhile, instead of protecting witnesses to a crime, the feds left them hanging out to dry as the harassment, fueled by public knowledge of the federal investigation itself, continued to upend their lives. Now, a little over a year after Reed was acquitted of killing O'Keefe, the witnesses, who continue to suffer harassment, are taking matters into their own hands. They have secured legal representation from famed Sandy Hook lawyer Chris Matei, who took down Alex Jones and won the largest defamation verdict in U.S. history, and are suing Reed and Carney for defamation. I love John. I love his niece Kaylee, who called me at 4:53 that morning, McCabe says today. All I did was answer a call and try to help. And for that, my life has been destroyed. It was 2:07 a.m. on April 18th, 2023, when Carney sent a message from his home in Holden. He'd been typing feverishly, working on his initial blog post about the murder of John O'Keefe. Now he attached it to a message for an intermediary between him and Reed. Read it over. Change exonerating to exonerate at the end of first paragraph, Reed responded through the intermediary at 2:09 a.m., according to an extraction of Carney's cell phone, which was obtained by prosecutors as a result of witness intimidation charges against Carney and later became public by Carney's now former girlfriend. He has a niece and nephew. Thank you, replied Carney. Keep them coming and I'll live edit. At 2:14 a.m., Reed sent another note to the intermediary. Carrie Roberts repeated the same story as Jen. She kept sending edits until 3:06 a.m. when she was satisfied. Amazeball sauce, she wrote, according to the phone extraction. Thank you so much. Hope they like it, Carney wrote through the intermediary, a former college acquaintance of Reed's named Natalie Wawicki. They love it. Incredible, Wawicki replied. The week prior, Wawicki had been introduced to Carney over Facebook by one of his followers. The two began texting, and after getting Reed's approval, Wawicki started receiving information from Reed and passing it to Carney, according to Wawicki and messages from Carney's phone extraction. There was other information Reed wanted to make sure Carney had. She started sending me pictures of Jen McCabe, Collins Battered Knuckles, all the different Alberts, and just who's who, Wawicki, who now regrets her support of Reed, told me. That included a photo from Reed, which Carney published, supposedly showing state police lead investigator Michael Proctor with McCabe's daughters. In fact, they were not McCabe's daughters. Carney was an unlikely person to take on this role. Less than 2 weeks after O'Keefe's death the prior year, he addressed the case on the YouTube live stream. No doubt she killed him because obviously the taillight was out, but who the fuck intentionally kills someone by backing into them, he told his fans. He speculated that Reed was drunk and had driven into her boyfriend by accident. That, however, was before Reed and her lawyers started giving me access to information about the case to report for them, which could make him a star. An award-winning journalist, Stephen.
So they sent him information so he could report on it correctly, but that educated him on the facts of the case. You can change your mind.
Yeah, I mean, this whole article is...
I know. Like, I started my life out as a libertarian. I'm not a libertarian anymore. You can change your mind.
I mean, is this like several pages long?
Yeah. Oh. And it's all lies. That's why I asked you to read it. It's too long for me.
Yeah, I don't
and I already read it once. You don't have to read it anymore if you want to give up.
I give up because I don't think this is accurate information. It's just perpetuating a theory that is not... There's a lot of stuff being said that is not substantiated as far as I know.
So it turns into a hit piece on Adam Deitch, but it also seems like she is probably getting paid. I'm guessing she's involved in a Netflix documentary about this. And I just watched a Netflix documentary today. And it had me thinking, like, I thought that they did good, like decent documentaries, but I think maybe they don't.
Oh,
like maybe they're all like this and I should stop watching them.
Maybe.
If it's just spun lies, because anybody that watched the two trials, like, kind of fundamentally understands the evidence. You know, I never picked a side. It was a really interesting case, but
My whole thing is that
I had no idea.
My whole thing is that this article, it's making a lot of like, I don't want to say accusations, but it's trying to tie things together that haven't already been tied together. And I don't know the evidence that they're referring to. Like, they pulled this person out of the woodworks that's an intermediary that was supposedly sending messages between Turtleboy and Karen Reed, and I don't know
Natalie.
I don't know anything about that person. I don't know if that person's accurate or not. I don't know anything about it. So
let me know when you can see the screen.
I see it.
Oh, it looks like Foreman just did a thing. Maybe we'll go watch. Do you want to watch that real quick?
Yeah.
Let me see how long it is.
McAlbert sympathizer and supporter Gretchen Voss gets absolutely.
All right. Not tonight. It's an hour and 25 minutes long.
Oof.
He did a long one. He usually doesn't do that long. Oh, yeah. So Juna Perkins, district attorney, like wrote this really like just rude thing where she slams Turtleboy and she slams and Adam Deitch, and it's really classless. He said, "Hey, Linda Pizzuti, do you have any editors these days? Boston Magazine, or have they all taken this off? While I anxiously await the correction you must publish of the shoddy reporting of Gretchen Voss." That's the article you just read.
Yeah.
And then he makes like a sports reference. But if you look at the bottom of that article, there are several retractions, and one, look at all these people just talking crap on this article. But, you know, it's a magazine. Like, it's not like in a paper. It's a magazine, fluffy, whatever. It's not serious journalism. So I guess at the end of the day, it's not that big of a deal, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So that was my Turtleboy update. It's interesting. Oh, I have another update. Oh, this was crazy. Some like lady who, did I tell you about this? Who was Paul O'Keefe's like online girlfriend is suing Turtleboy.
Yes, you did tell me about this.
Yeah. So he just got indicted in New Jersey.
That's terrible.
Yeah, and Mark Betterow wrote something about it, and he's going to represent him with Linda Kenny Bodden. So, and some other attorney, I don't remember his name off the top of my head, but you know, I'll watch it. Hopefully that goes away because it's insane that like this lady, what? Like this lady catfished somebody.
Yeah.
And Turtleboy wrote about it, and that upset her, I guess. Yeah. But it's saying like she sent like revenge corn or something like that. Or
right. The charges are like revenge corn charges, where they're saying like because they're trying to, what I understand of it is they're trying to take his actions embarrassing her and conflate them into the same level as if you took videos of somebody and put them on the internet that were lewd and damaging.
Right. Yeah.
I don't think that's the same. I think we do need rules for things like revenge corn, where you break up with you go and date somebody, you guys have some intimate moments, you then publish those intimate moments when the relationship goes sour with the intention of hurting that person. That should be illegal. Embarrassing somebody because they talked to you about something they did and you reported on that thing they did is not the same.
Talked to him about it because she wanted him to report on it, right?
Regardless, it's not the same either way. It's categorically different. And the fact they're trying to use that as like a way to get to him is just gross.
Yeah, it's stupid, but I'll follow it. I'll let you know if there are any updates on it.
Okay.
What do you want to do next, David or Bricks and Minifigs?
Bricks and Minifigs.
All right.
What's up with Reckless Ben?
So I don't have a Reckless Ben update. There's nothing new on his Patreon, and I already played for you like the last video he had, but there is a husband and wife law tubers, and they have an interview with Chrystal Gormon. She was the original store owner that did the consignment deal, and then there was a hostile takeover.
Yeah, and they're claiming that she stole the Legos.
Yeah. Well, there's some merit to that, which she'll explain, because she had, like, from going to trade shows, she had one set. And whenever she realized she had it, she was like, hey, I have this set, and gave it back to the owner.
That's a mistake, though. That's not.
Well, she was just trying to be honest. She seems honest, but she's also, in the last, like, Reckless Ben video we saw, he was like, maybe she stole Legos. I don't know. And she's like, I was kind of like upset that he said that, but he also said, she seems pretty believable. She's like, so I kind of don't blame him from where he's coming from. Like, she's really,
he is reckless. So
she wasn't like super defensive. So anyway, I want you to watch it because I think it gives her a lot of like credibility.
Okay.
In my opinion.
Okay.
And I'm right sometimes.
Let's see it.
Let me know when it's up.
It's up.
Them if he was with you the whole time.
Teleportation.
You're not going to shame me into silence. That's not just within the franchise agreement. That's state law in both Oregon, Utah, and federal law. So no matter what way they try to phrase it, the way they went about the termination itself violated everything.
They were doing things that were violations of the franchise agreement
from day one.
Yeah. The world wants to know, is the bird safe?
I don't know.
We don't know what happened. What's up, everybody? Mark Breyer, a real-life trial lawyer here at the Husband and Wife Law Team. Today, we are getting into the Salem Bricks trial again by actually app about you guys.
Oh, yes. And it is surreal.
Yeah. I'm more online now than I have ever been before. It's
very strange.
There's so much new content to consume. And when people are talking about you, it becomes this almost obsessive need to know exactly what they are saying. And I've also got, full of the supporters online that are sending me, hey, have you seen this yet? And so I try to not only try to watch everything that's coming out, but I try to stay engaged with everybody that's been so supportive.
Somebody did a behavioral analysis video of interview.
That was weird.
Try refusing to watch that. That was
Chris and Ben, call me. I'd love to hang out.
Yeah, we couldn't stay away from that. Yeah. As she was starting it, she was going, this is going to give me a whole bunch of new insecurities.
What are the one or two things?
They actually seem kind of cool. Like, they're kind of goth.
They seem cool to me.
Yeah, I'd hang out with them.
Yeah, I'm down.
These are the so-called facts that are not facts.
There are two things that I continue to see repeated no matter how many times I try to correct the record. And that is, we do have a signed consignment agreement with Brian, a legally binding consignment agreement between Brian Mansell and the Salem Stores LLC as represented by me. And so the notion that it was a private contract between myself as a person and Brian as a person, or that there is no contract out there. Brian has a copy of it. I have a copy of it. Our attorney has a copy of it. I believe the Kaiser Police Department has a copy of it as part of all of that. Corporate has never once reached out to me to ask for it, but the contract exists.
And yet corporate has made a whole bunch of comments with innuendo and suggestion.
Corporate is using a rough draft of the consignment agreement that they pulled from the Salem email account that Brian had sent before we signed it. So that's not the signed version. I had sent back notes about things that needed to be changed. So they're operating under a first draft and then acting like that is the final draft.
And one of those substantive changes was in his original draft, he wrote, oh yeah, and you sign it here as, Chris Gormon.
Me pointing out that it should be the LLC.
No, this needs to be the LLC. I don't know that BAM knows that. They
should. They're in the comments and they're watching all of these videos. By now they should know.
Did they ever call you before? Because there was over a year. There was over a year where Brian was trying to get this handled, right? Before it hit people like me. And before the world knew. Did corporate ever call you and say, hey, this dude is alleging that Bricks and Minifigs, they never even asked.
Not to this date.
Yeah, they never have contacted.
Not us, not our attorney.
And so they didn't want to remind us, hey, you've got a really, really strong case against us. They just wanted us to disappear.
The common phrase that's used throughout most states and in many situations is knew or should have known. In other words, This would presumably be the first phone call, email, or letter from them to you saying, this dude, Brian, has made this allegation. We don't see that in the system. Is it true or false? It is blatantly true, inarguably, that there is a written agreement that was made for the entire consignment agreement.
Yeah. And they were informed. That's the other thing.
They were informed that
knew.
night.
And I think they're afraid of adding more evidence that they knew by contacting us, but they were informed, and we had
They also knew about the consignment agreement when it began.
even before that. So they have no grounds to say they were unaware.
You said there were a couple of factual things. That's it. What was the other?
The second is also related to that consignment, is this idea that I've seen repeated online that we were behind in payments to Brian, or that we weren't making payments to him. We were not behind in payments. His next payment was due November 15th. They took the store from us November 14th and said Brandon was taking on all of the consignment liability. It was no longer my responsibility to make that payment to him.
Brandon will take, taking on the business, he takes on all that kind of stuff.
Previously that night, I was talking to Kai on the phone and Brandon in person about what was owed to him, how to find what was owed to him, how to identify everything that belonged to him. He has not been paid his percentage yet. And if I don't have my tickets, I won't know how much I need to pay. We were not behind in payments. That payment was due the next day. And that was corporate that night with their termination agreement within the franchise agreement itself took on full legal liability of that. When you seize a business, when you seize an LLC, you cannot take responsibility for the assets of that business without also taking legal responsibility for any of the liabilities due.
Because if you could do that, by the way, for the people out there, you guys know this, for the people out there going, why can't you do that? Otherwise, every business would operate that way forever. I'll set up a business, I'll have someone else run it, and then I'll take just the money owed to me, but nothing I owe, and I would be more profitable, and every store would do that every year. So there's a reason why they can't do that type of behavior in most settings, and definitely not here. We see you on the phone. You have in front of you, Brandon.
I like her hair.
Somebody is on the phone and you're having the conversation, and you say in that conversation, there is money here that hasn't been paid yet on consignment. And the reason is not because we're behind in payments, but because we pay on the 15th of every month, and they swooped in and took the store on the 14th. So what I was telling them was, we have made some sales and you need to make sure this gets paid because it's not due until tomorrow.
Yeah. Right. Yeah. And people have misconstrued that as not only that, but corporate has made statements that I wasn't paying him. And so people have put those between those two together, that I was late on payments or behind on payments or not making payments to him. And that is false.
Another thing I think that complicates it is the way that the payments were structured was they were kind of in a 3-month rolling system. So you were getting paid for something, what you were owed 3 months back. And that was because when we started taking it on, there was, this is a pretty normal structure, for example, in the publishing industry where you're dealing with like returns, right? So it looks like, wait, why is it that after all this time we paid this much? Well, that's because there's a 3-month roll.
So there's a 3-month window, essentially, because of the small amount of sales between the first comic convention, for gift card payments, for royalty payments, for any returns, and anything that was purchased using trade credit. And so there was that 3-month window. We were not behind. We were right on schedule. I would have made that payment to him the next day.
I have 2 major things I want to go over with you. Let me start with the one that might be bothering you guys the most, or maybe you're like, thank goodness you're asking, I want to refute it. Reckless Ben recently in an interview saying,
there's an equal chance that the previous owner stole some and the new owner stole some.
And then combined with that was that at some point you guys located some of the Lego that belonged to Brian and his father. And then you said, look, we found it. We're going to make sure you get it. You went through everything you could go through, but the combination of finding that Lego, which some people might go, well, that's great. Shows how honest they were. However, for the people who hear what Reckless Ben said, and listen, I've been pretty vocal. I never knew who Reckless Ben was before all this stuff. And I give him credit for using his platform to try to help people, because we need more people who are willing to do that. So I don't know the guy. I don't know his motives, but I can say here, I'm very glad that he outed someone, but you guys fall under the umbrella of the potential someone. So when you hear people say that, your reaction is what?
I'm going to answer this one because Ben's natural inclination is always going to be defend me, and I'm gonna save you from that. I'll be honest. When somebody sent me, I was at work. Somebody sent me that video and said, "Go to this mark. How dare he?" Basically, and my first response from that was not pleased. I was furious. I was not pleased. I have now since come around. I can understand why he said it. I may wish he hadn't. But there's a lot of things that that I wish people weren't saying. But I can understand essentially on twofold of that. And I think you'll understand one part of this much more than the average viewer. Reckless Ben has always been clear from the very beginning that he is doing everything that he's doing for Brian Mansell. We have been clear about that. He's been clear about that. We know that. But also, as a journalist, he has to maintain that that sense of neutrality. You know, the things that we can prove that everybody hasn't already seen yet, that's going to come out, whether it's in mediation, discovery, in court, in front of a jury. However, anything that hasn't come out, like, he's operating under what he has, what most everybody else has seen. So I can understand him not wanting to say very clearly, while wishing he hadn't phrased it that way. I can understand why he would want to maintain that sense of, you know, journalistic neutrality. As a human, not like, I wasn't super happy about it, but as a journalist, I get that. The other side of that is corporate, like BAM is attempting to make this civil RICO case and claiming that we are colluding. There are even perhaps some claims that we are paying Reckless Ben to make corporate look bad.
Or he's paying us, it's not
or
clear.
He's paying us.
This is so ridiculous.
These people seem pretty, like, all right. They seem
Yeah,
like
no,
pretty
I
competent
find
people.
them extremely believable. Like,
Yeah.
Or Brian's paying us, or we're paying both of them. Corporate has even tried to claim that our attorney is somehow in on the collusion, that it's all a grand scheme of I mean, I'm sure you saw the TRO and the RICO filing. We were all over the filing itself, but not actually as named defendant.
You want to know one of the reasons, and I can't speak to their motivation, but one of the reasons people make allegations like that is to try to get your lawyer off the case. They try to turn a lawyer into an interested party or interested witness, and therefore try to suggest ethically, and then they will sometimes, in situations like that, file motions with the judge and say, Judge, their lawyer needs to be removed, which of course would be at huge expense to you, because all of a sudden now you have to pay another lawyer to get up to speed if you can even find that other lawyer. I can't speak to why they did what they did, because it was definitely what we call shotgun litigation. In other words, it was not a rifle shot, right? It was everyone's doing everything, we're clean, in a verified complaint that later was admitted to be not fully accurate. But that's neither here nor there. Well, depending which complaint we're talking about.
My only wish in that was, I wish he had said, I mean, you know, something to the effect of, I'm sure that's possible, but there's no evidence for that. And there's lots of evidence on this side, you know, like.
He did follow up by saying that she's been very transparent.
Yes.
And she's always been open to trying solving this. And then Bricks and Minifigs just calls the cops on me every time I try to solve it with them.
When you left the store that day, what percentage-ish, and I'm not asking for 27.6 or 82.3, but how much of the collection that Brian had given you was still in your possession and had not yet been sold?
I'm glad you're asking, because this is important for folks to know.
I don't have the spreadsheet in front of me.
It's minuscule though. It was what was in, because it was what was in the garage that was from the convention. And as soon as we found that, we returned.
That was the other part of the question that you had asked previously.
The recovered Lego, like, because what happens with this, and I'm going to ask you it this way, and I'm going to ask you it like I'm their lawyer. Ready?
Yeah.
Right. For a long time, this process was going on, and you pointed the finger and said, I gave corporate a spreadsheet, corporate came in, it's on video, and then fast forward, and it's like, oops, we actually have it's in our garage. How can you explain the statements you made before and reconcile that with the fact that all of a sudden you're giving these new Lego, you know, to Brian?
Chris, have you seen their pup?
What? Yeah, I see their I see it in the background. Yeah.
It keeps walking around back.
I see it moving around back
it's
there.
It's a nice looking dog.
Yeah, it is nice looking.
Oops, our fault. For someone who doesn't believe you, that looks like you're not telling the truth.
Right. Especially, and I understand if it was, you know, if it was a third of the collection was in our garage or something, that would be a nightmare. We're talking.
Oh yeah, but let's not use subjective numbers. So yes, corporate had access to that spreadsheet on the store's Google Doc.
Which, by the way, you had created. Did you know they were coming in that day?
No. So that spreadsheet, I created a copy of the one that I was working on. Was it September? I think the date on it was September, because Brian and I had spoken, because we were coming to the end of the consignment agreement. He wanted a good sense of where we were at, what was sold. So I created a copy to email to him. So when corporate says multiple sets of books, it was literally a duplicate of a spreadsheet. The sets that were returned to Brian, we would take his sets to comic conventions. We had 2 companies that were doing comic conventions together, our Not a Pipe Publishing and Bricks and Minifigs. And so we would get booths together. So we would separate out what convention stuff was for the store and what convention stuff was for the publishing company.
Now let me break that down really quick. You guys separately own the publishing company.
Yeah.
We both owned both businesses. So we both own. So I am 49% owner of Not a Pipe Publishing. He is 51. And then for Bricks and Minifigs, I was 51%. He was 49%.
When you guys would go to a Comic-Con or whatever it was, you would bring product. Some of that product belonged to your own set, the publishing company.
Yeah.
Some of that product belonged to Bricks and Minifigs, also your company, meaning the franchisee portion of it.
Yeah.
Yes.
And so you would have to keep track of which was which.
Yeah.
And then,
it's books and it's Lego. So that wasn't,
pretty
that
easy.
wasn't. So we just get an extra large booth. And so half of the booth would be the publishing company. The other one would be the Bricks and Minifigs. The whole reason this entire thing started with corporate coming in and seizing the store is we had planned to move to Europe. in hindsight, we probably, because financial constraints, we ended up coming back, but we moved forward with the plan thinking that corporate would abide by the franchise agreement, give us the inventory, make things right. And so we moved forward. And it was as we were going through and packing up the house to figure out what to donate, what to sell, what was getting thrown away, all of that stuff. We finally got into the very back corner of the garage where all of that convention stuff was stored in totes. And so as we're going through all of that stuff, then I found the tote that had some leftover sets from the Bricks and Minifigs portion of the convention. And then I reached out to Brian. And then there was, because he was already dealing with corporate and dealing with the Kaiser Police, it was coordinating when's the best time to meet up. And so we had 13 sets that were on that inventory spreadsheet. So anything outside of those 13 sets that M&R purchased were never on that inventory. There were 13. I have the numbers. Brian and I sat down and actually signed a witnessed thing with the list of sets, the list of minifigures. And then there was a tote of 300 and, I have it written down back there. I believe 347 minifigures that were duplicates of ones we already had in the case. So they were never actually added to the inventory because I just hadn't gotten around to, because they were duplicates. If we had sold out, I would have added them to inventory and priced them, but I'd never just gotten around to inventorying them.
And to be fair, you didn't know that corporate was going to come in that day and say, we have your store at this minute.
Yeah. Brian also knew all of those minifigures had not been inventoried yet. It's really easy for other people to sit back and go, but you had them for a year. How didn't you get around to them? They were duplicates. We didn't need them yet. It wasn't a focus. If we had needed them, I would have done them. Brian knew we had the thing that wasn't. It's easy to sit back from, hindsight and say, I would have done this differently. I would have done that differently.
Well, and to go back to one of your previous questions, this is one of the things that still rankles me, and it relates to this. The termination agreement that they, offered us and that they wanted us to sign. And also in our conversation with Kai, the representative of corporate, the night of,
who was on the phone in that video, right?
Yeah.
They kept saying, we will provide you with a complete inventory. And had they done that, all these questions would have been resolved because we would have been able to say, well, here's our spreadsheet. Here's your complete inventory. Okay, these things all match. This lines up. You are, compensating us correctly.
The way it's supposed to work in our franchise agreement, I mean, there's two factor. We should have had a 30-day notice before any termination took place.
And how much notice did you get?
None. No, none.
None.
Brandon showed up at 5:30 and notified me at 6 the moment I locked the door and turned.
So, just so I understand, a big discrepancy in the inventory that she had was that the duplicates she hadn't inventoried yet.
Yeah.
You probably should have done that.
Well, that's what she's saying, though. She didn't need to. She didn't know the store was going to get taken. It was one of those I'll deal with that when I have to things where they still had figures to sell.
Hold on.
And these were duplicates.
Hold on. I don't get me wrong. I really like them and I find them very believable. Have you ever worked in retail?
No.
Okay. So you inventory everything when you receive it and you inventory it out when you sell it, even if you have duplicates, everything.
Yeah, I get what you're saying.
Okay. So her saying they were duplicates, we didn't inventory them yet, doesn't translate to me when it comes to running a retail business at all.
Some people are not that complete at things.
Okay.
They do things when they need to do them.
No, I feel bad. I don't want to criticize them, but that's like a glaring mistake,
Yeah, and I think she mentioned earlier in the video, she said it's it's easy to in hindsight to look and say, oh, I should have done this. So that's probably one of those things that she's like, I should have inventoried that stuff when it came in, but I didn't because I didn't have time or didn't have the energy for it at that time,
Turned off the sign that he was there to take the keys and I was being terminated. It took them from 5:30 until about 7:45 to actually send the termination agreement. That's it.
So any tidying up that you would do to make it more seamless was not possible.
No.
Yeah.
So
I mean, not realistic anyway.
There are people that will point to the fact that there is a section in the franchise agreement that calls for immediate termination. And they're using it as, see, we have the right to immediately terminate. But that language is not saying what they think it's saying. So the difference between termination and immediate termination is if they're terminating the franchise agreement, like a traditional termination, they have to allow you a 30-day right to cure, a right to fix any defaults. If you're behind on
and let me help explain that to people. The deal between a franchisee and franchisor, while each agreement is different, doesn't allow the franchisor to just steal the property of a franchisee. Otherwise, you could buy a McDonald's, make it the busiest McDonald's in your state, and McDonald's corporate come in and go, oh, that's really busy. You're closed today, it's ours. They can't do that. If they think you're selling the raw, you're not using sesame seeds on your Big Mac bun, they have to give you the opportunity. Not be afraid to use sesame seed on your Big Mac bun. You should be shot and you should lose immediately. But for normal things, you can't just steal from a franchisee. If they think you're not living up to the standards, you have the opportunity to fix it, short of, as an example, you're conducting illegal activity and selling narcotics.
And that's the other part of it, right? So a traditional termination, you have that 30-day right to cure. Okay, you're behind on payments, you're whatever, you're this, right? You have 30 days to fix those faults, and then we continue operating. The other part of that is you get arrested for a felony, right? You're dealing heroin out of your store. You're, doing something fraudulent, or you're, whatever, something that harms the brand. The other part that falls under the immediate termination does not mean the same day. You're still legally required to give a 30-day notice. That's not just within the franchise agreement. That's state law in both Oregon, Utah, and federal law. All require between 30 and 60 days notice for the termination of a franchise agreement. So no matter what way they try to phrase it, the way they went about the termination itself violated everything. And that led to a domino of, had they given me 30 days notice, I could have informed Brian, returned everything, made sure that we had done all the payments. We would have gone through and done a full inventory. Corporate then could have come in and done their own inventory. And then we would have a right to dispute that and bring in a third-party inventory. And then if we still disputed the third-party inventory, the way the franchise agreement was written was that everything freezes until we come to an agreement amount. Instead, what they did is they came in at the end of a business day, said, we are taking the store, changing the keys, locking you out at 7 o'clock at night. And then at 10 o'clock the next morning, Brandon was there. The store was open for business. Customers were coming in and they were selling product.
I imagine Brian had your number. You had Brian's number because you had been selling his father's product for how long had you been selling his product before this happened?
So they
were selling product before they did their own inventory?
I don't think that's what they're saying.
Okay. They said they were doing it by the next morning.
Well, yeah. She's saying that Bricks and Minifigs kicked them out of the store and opened up the next day and started selling stuff.
Right. So when did they do an inventory?
They haven't done an inventory.
Oh my God.
Right? Like, isn't that the whole crux of this? The people keep asking for an inventory and they keep basically saying that they don't have to give one or they don't have to do anything.
I feel like there are no guidelines in this franchise.
This is what this woman is saying. She's saying that there's
she was set up. If that's the case, she was set up to fail at this business.
Correct. That's what I believe she's saying.
September for Rose City of 2023. And then we signed the consignment agreement, I believe around December or so. So, we had it for just over a year.
And here's why that matters. Because everyone's like, who can be trusted? Who can be trusted? But what's missing from that is for about a year, there was an ongoing relationship between you and Brian. In any point in that process, did Brian send you an email or say anything to you suggesting that he did not trust you?
No. Within the consignment agreement, he had the right to end the agreement at any time.
Let's go back to the missing Lego, okay? And this is what I want to ask you about. It has been alleged all across the internet and implied or expressly stated by corporate that you, the two of you, stole all the Star Wars that were on consignment. So here is my question. Let me pose it to you. Let me play lawyer for you. I've been doing a little cross-examine-ish. You did not know that they were going to show up that day. When they showed up, Brandon showed up. Half hour later, you closed the store. He took the keys. He was with you that whole half hour. A couple hours later, you left the store.
Yes.
You no longer had the keys to the store.
Yeah.
How could you have stolen all the Legos if you didn't know he was coming and never would have had a chance to steal them if he was with you the whole time?
Teleportation. It would have required alien technology.
There's a way. Yeah, there is a way. It was the cartfuls of stuff that I was taking out to the car under my jacket.
Yes.
But Ammon says they sent Brandon in there in preparation for a hostile takeover so that I wouldn't take everything out of the store or declare bankruptcy, all of which I was legally right, would have been within my legal rights. But then also claims that I took several cartfuls of stuff out to my car under my jacket.
She took at least one, if not more than one, cartfuls of things out to her car with her coat draped over it.
Which is really interesting that if you send somebody expecting a hostile takeover and they're watching somebody allegedly do that, they're not taking pictures or videos of them doing that.
Yeah. Was the inventory back in the storage room or out where the public could buy it?
It was out where the part of it that could fit on the shelf was out where the public could buy it between 5:30 and 6 o'clock. At 6 o'clock, when I locked the doors and turned off the sign, Brandon watched me take it off of the shelf, put it in a cart, and roll it back to the storage room and put it in the safe.
So they knew for a fact where it was.
Yeah. And then Brandon was back there in that room with me as I was taking pictures and videos of the section of the collection and the other store Lego in that storage room.
Did you take pictures of the entire store before you left it?
I took pictures of everything that I could get to in time. There was a small section in the very back of the storage room behind the last case that I couldn't get to. And then there's some more parts like behind the counter where I couldn't, things might have been behind other stuff. But we took pictures and video of absolutely everything we could get to.
Yeah,
I didn't get any pictures or video.
Confusion because CoffeeZilla did this absolute deep dive into our photo evidence, which was yeoman's work on his part, his team. But because we couldn't see some things, they weren't included in our
And there's some sets that you can't see because my angle was wrong and you couldn't see the number. You could only identify the box. I didn't get any pictures that night of my office. Because we had no Lego sets in there. It was just operating equipment, the printer and stuff like that. The cash safe, different safe from Brian's collection, but where we, kept the cash and store keys and all of that. I didn't get any pictures of the birthday party room. I focused on everything that had inventory.
What are you going through? Let's get into your mindset, right? Most people have never been through anything where there's like this, wait, I woke up this morning, I had a business. We knew we might go to Europe. There might be a wind down. We're trying to have conversations and wait, the store just closed and I'm out of business. Can you try to get us into that mindset so that people can understand, why didn't you move the shelves? Why didn't you get every picture? Why didn't you give them the inventory list? Try to bring us to that point so people can understand, because most people have never experienced that.
Yeah, I think the central question is, why didn't we call the police? You should address that.
Yeah. I would have given them the inventory list had they ever asked for it. Big question of that is, why didn't we call the police? And I'm going to say this as kindly as I possibly can. I would have been okay doing that. That was my first instinct. Yes, corporate maintained control of the lease. They never transferred it over to us when they were supposed to. So they had the legal right to kick us out of the store. Ben had a little more faith than I did that corporate was going to act ethically and follow their own agreement. He wanted to keep things civil and not escalate things that evening. I had already, in my operations of the store, had relationships with some Kaiser police officers with the various break-ins. I should have. I honestly, one of the biggest things that I would have changed is I would have called the police before I even called you to come to the store, because I was there by myself that night. And I had to call Ben and say, I need you to get here right now. They are kicking me out. Right before I did that, I should have called the Kaiser Police Department myself and made them come. Part of what I hesitated doing that was, what happens if they get there and Kai is on the phone saying, we are the leaseholders, we want her trespassed. And the Kaiser, instead of saying this is a civil matter, say, okay, you have to leave immediately. All those photos that I took, all those videos that I took, they don't exist. We are in a vastly worse position. That was part of my thinking behind that, of let's keep it civil, get as much documentation as we can. And then they told us you have to leave the minute you receive that termination letter in your email.
You only had it on assignment. You did not own it. And yet every night before we'll call it the takeover, you chose to protect Brian's stuff by putting it in a safe.
Yeah.
Right. Corporate didn't do that. You did that for about a year.
Yeah.
So the same person who every day put the stuff in a safe in case of a break-in, which had happened, it could happen. The same person who went to that level to protect the Lego sets and all the Lego that were there is the person that corporate's pointing the finger at as the one who stole it. When you put it in the safe that night, was Brandon there? Did he see you do that?
Yeah.
And did
he was asking me about it.
Oh, he was asking you what it was.
Yeah.
And you shared with him. There was.
Yeah. Here's the stickers that identify it.
So you showed him the different color stickers. He saw you put it. Did you close the safe?
I did not. So I left the safe open. I left 3 safes. So that's also the common thing. There were 3 in that room, and I left them open. And as we are walking out the door, you can hear me tell Brandon, I've given you the keys to the mailbox, the keys to the store, the code to the safe in the office that stored the cash, and I left the keys to the safes in the storage room back in the lock of the safe for him. I gave you the mailbox in the silver, and then the keys for the back storeroom and the safe are in the safe. So any notion that he couldn't have seen or somehow been able to access them is disproven by me telling him on camera you have all of that.
Well, I'm going to word this question carefully. I'm not asking you for a statement of fact. I'm asking you for a statement of opinion. My question is, what happened to this entire now missing collection of Star Wars sets and Star Wars Lego that Brian put on consignment?
Well, we can tell you two things we do know for a fact, and people can then make suppositions. The next morning.
That's actually a great question. I mean, I would be pretty freaked out.
Yeah, I don't know how I would react to that.
Or maybe she was like, finally, we can go to Europe.
It doesn't sound like it. It sounds like they were rattled by it. And I can understand why they'd be rattled. Because like she explained, they already know when this is going on that Bricks and Minifigs isn't handling this the proper way. So like she said, she wasn't sure if she should call the police or what she should do. So I imagine she was probably rattled.
Yeah.
At 10 o'clock in the morning, that business was up and running and selling items. So people can.
How do you know that?
They were.
How do you know that, Ben?
He had to go back the next morning, not even go into the store, to pay the employees handwritten checks. And so the store was up and running with employees in it the next morning. We are aware of that. And second, we know that if you went to the Salem Bricks and Minifigs website and you said, I want to purchase a set, it would redirect to the Eugene sales store. So people can draw what conclusion they want from that.
Let me ask you about the U-Haul. All right. The U-Haul gets a lot of discussion. You guys were there that night. When did the U-Haul show up? Was it there that night? What happened with the U-Haul? What did you observe? You were there. Clear up the U-Haul and everything you do or do not know about it.
So I had a meeting with corporate that morning at 10 a.m. and they said, we have somebody who may be interested in purchasing the location. He's going to swing by tonight after closing and just take a look around. That was my introduction. I had never met Brandon before. I didn't know what he looked like.
You had already voiced to them that you guys might be leaving the country.
Yeah, that was our meeting with Kai, Ammon, and Matt to discuss whether we could even move forward with selling the store. Because at that point, we didn't know if they were going to allow us out of our franchise agreement early.
And you preferred to sell the store.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Because if someone takes it over, it's a different liability situation for you than if it just goes out of business.
If they had said, no, we're not going to let you out of your franchise agreement early, we would not have moved. That was like, if they had said no, but they led me to believe that they were amenable to possibly selling it to this person that was coming to look at it.
Just to clarify for people who don't know what this looks like, you're a franchisee. There's a lot of disincentive to closing up shop and leaving, like bankruptcy disincentive, like things that financially are really bad for you guys. So you go to them and you say, hey, can we do this? Now, it is not at all uncommon if there's a successful franchisee that a franchisor might go, oh, no. Hold on. Let's work together. We're going to find somebody for you.
Yeah.
Because we don't want this store that has brand recognition in the community shutting down. So it's good for you. It's good for us. We'll work out the numbers and the details later. You get a call at 10 a.m. going, we may have someone, and you guys are thinking we want to move. So this could be a great day.
Yeah. So I was working by myself that day. Brandon shows up at about 5:30.
So really, this is all your husband's fault. Sorry, I'm married and I had to make the joke. I had to do it.
He never worked at the store.
I never worked. I was
he had a full-time job.
Public school teacher.
Yeah.
So.
And so it just happened to be because it was a Thursday. Yeah, I was working by myself because my staff would have worked on the weekends. So he shows up at about 5:30 and comes in and doesn't really say much. He just kind of introduces himself. And so we make kind of like small talk for that last half an hour before the store closes. And then I lock the door. I turn off the open sign. I'm taking Brian's stuff back to the safe. Actually, I'd started doing that a few minutes before we closed, but that was pretty normal just because I didn't want to be there all night. And it wasn't until like we had locked the door and shut off the open sign that he says, well, okay, and well, now give me your keys. And I'm just like, I'm sorry, what now? And then he says, yeah, I'm here to take over the store. Corporate's terminating your agreement. Okay, I've heard nothing about this. I need to figure out what is going on. Do you mind if I step outside?
Was Brandon surprised that you had heard nothing about it? Was he like, I thought you already knew?
I couldn't read anything from him at all. He was just no affect whatsoever. Nothing. Just he barely engaged. So I stepped outside to make a phone call to Kai.
Because you're not handing the keys to a stranger because he says so.
Not only that, but I'm not handing over the keys with no inventory done. And then Kai says, well, yeah, this is happening. And I'm talking to him about like, what about the consignment? What about the inventory? I'm not leaving without taking Brian's stuff with me. And then him saying, if that contract is between you and Brian, that's fine. Show it to us and you can take those with you. If that contract is between the store and Brian, it remains in the store. Anything that belongs to the store, you are not allowed to take.
Taking on the business, he takes on all that consignment.
How much stuff was on consignment, Chris?
I mean, I don't even know how.
No,
many.
what I mean is, was it only Brian's stuff?
Oh, only Brian's.
So nothing
only
else in the store was on consignment.
Nothing else was on consignment, just Brian's. Yeah.
Understood.
So I call Ben and I say, like, you need to get here immediately and go back in and start doing like a handwritten inventory. And it didn't take long to realize there was no way I was going to be able to. They're like, as soon as you get that termination agreement, you have to leave. Shortly after he had gotten there, I'd looked up and realized and noticed that he'd been driving a U-Haul. And I thought that was odd. Just coming from Eugene, driving a U-Haul seems exorbitantly expensive based on mileage. And I was under the impression, I don't know if corporate gave me this impression or I just presumed when they said they have somebody from Eugene, I presumed it was somebody that lived in Eugene. And so the idea of somebody living in Eugene, that's like an hour and a half drive, renting a U-Haul to make an hour and a half drive didn't make sense to me. So that's why I noticed it.
But what's the purpose? Like what is the purpose of renting a U-Haul or a box truck unless you need the store? Now, of course, we don't know what he was doing that day. He could have been moving an apartment, but he brought to the store a box truck.
Well, it's interesting that there have been so many conflicting answers to why he had that U-Haul, because that night he was on the phone talking to somebody while I was in the store going around taking pictures. And there was a point in that conversation where he said, well, yeah, I'm driving a U-Haul because I'm going to pick up a truck later. And me thinking is he picking up, like in the back of my mind, I'm going, is he picking up, did he buy like a wrecked truck or something? That seems odd. I was just thinking it was really weird for somebody that lives an hour and a half away to rent a U-Haul to drive up here. At the time, I wasn't thinking in the context of this man is here to steal my inventory.
I'm glad she took all the pictures she took.
Yeah. Sounds like she reacted pretty quickly.
She quickly and did the most intelligent thing she could do under the circumstances. Yeah.
Wasn't until, later. And then when you pair that with corporate denials of there ever being a U-Haul, and then this, long rambling story about, well, no, it was a different storage unit.
And it was a different day. But
and it
clearly was not a different day. Right. Like, it's very strange.
Yeah.
I know how bad it was that day from your viewpoint. I get that. But let's go from before that. How did you end up buying this franchise? How much interaction did you have with corporate? And during the course of time, is this a shocking event because this is not how they behaved? Or in hindsight, you should have seen it coming because this is exactly the kind of people they were to you the whole time?
I am shocked. Well, not that shocked.
Both?
It's both.
It's both.
You sound like a lawyer. You can't say both.
Well, okay.
No, that's well explained. This
So-
is interesting.
I mean, I was managing the store, essentially doing everything an owner is already doing. And so it felt like I'm already doing all of the work. I'm already working the long hours. It's a dream opportunity to do it myself. But then in hindsight, knowing the circumstances behind how they fired the manager that they brought on that I then replaced and how they dealt with her firing, and then the discrepancies and the confusion around how the previous franchise owner of that location left the business, those all look like much bigger red flags than at the time they did. So it's both, right? I always had good interactions with them, even when it was something that they weren't doing, like when the bank account got frozen or the lease didn't get transferred or dealing with the social media stuff, like any of those issues. They were always very quick to say, yeah, no, we messed up. We'll take care of it. We promise this won't come back to you. We're willing to work with you. We're willing to help you out. But then the behavior doesn't change, right? We messed up on the lease. We'll take care of that. Then take care of it. So it's really both. We had a good working relationship, and all the little hiccups, looking back in hindsight, are much larger.
And I think this is an important thing to put a pin in. This is really, they were doing things that were violations of the franchise agreement
from day one.
Yeah. And we didn't say to ourselves, wow,
this is a giant red flag.
Making a contract on day one. This is terrible. We need to get away from this, because the way they would present it was, oh yeah, terribly sorry, we haven't turned over the passwords to the social media, or sorry, we haven't turned over the bank account. Don't worry, we'll get that taken care of. Sorry that our failure to turn over the lease is causing this extra charge. Don't worry, we'll take care of that. And so we're going, okay, well, this isn't worth losing our business over when they're being kind, right? And so for them to then turn around and use that as a pretext to take the business, to say, oh, well, the reason we're allowed to do that is because there was a late charge on the, on rent that we caused. I mean, it turns out in hindsight, it was a huge red flag that we did not see as a red flag.
I was too emotionally invested in the store already, as all the work I'd put in as a manager, that I was so excited for the notion to have a thing to call my own that I overlooked so many things. And I think had I not approached it from that perspective of, I've already built a base here, I've already developed these relationships, I'm very excited to move into the ownership aspect of it, then I think like a lot of those things I would have picked up on had I not. But then you're also dealing with a, upstanding, Mormon, family-based business people that you're not expecting that while you're letting all these little things slide and focusing on the day-to-day of running the business, they're creating a ledger of these things that they can build up and then use against you.
I think, I mean, a heads up for folks in the future, when you are dealing with something like this, rather than getting into a situation like ours, where we were having to go out the next morning and find an attorney, get an attorney. Like, get an attorney.
That's what the California store did right when they did this.
Already had representation. And so I'm sure they had representation advising them through this process. Whereas we were saying, if you do this to us, we're going to go get an attorney tomorrow morning.
With all this happen, right? This is a franchise without naming names. And if the answer is no, the answer is no. Have you heard from other franchisees or former franchisees to go, either we're surprised this happened to you, or that's exactly my experience with them, I hope you hold them accountable?
Yes.
Without naming names, has it been multiple and you start going, oh, it isn't just me?
Yes.
And it's validating, right?
Very much so.
3 quick questions for you. Number 1, I'm sorry to bring in my own personal experience as a lawyer, but I'm going to do it. A lot of times, everyone...
This whole business sounds like really amateurish, not on their part, like
no,
the whole company.
Right, but I that's a lot of businesses are like that, I think.
Yeah, this is like a national franchise.
Right, but I mean, I don't know.
Everyone has lived their life. And it is not at all uncommon that in a case where everyone agrees that someone I'm representing is not responsible, that the defense will do anything they can to rake my client through the mud. Why? Because it's effective. Because instead of people sitting there as jurors and going, wait, you ran this person over, you admit you ran the person over, why are you bringing up something that happened years ago? They do it because it works. So how did you feel when the CEO comes out and says, you know, she got in trouble at 19 years old. Don't trust what she says, or the fact that we trusted her background, her experience.
She apparently has a retail theft and other criminal arrests on her record.
Was that a, I don't care, that's silly, or was that infuriating? And how do you feel about it?
I mean, it's infuriating. Now I'm no longer surprised at any kind of mudslinging. Now I'm no longer surprised at hearing what is being spoken about me. Now I feel like there's no bottom, right? There's no bar. So I'm kind of trying not to let that surprise me. At the time, CoffeeZilla saying that was like, I was shocked.
They're like, she has a history of some type of burglary, theft.
Oh my God. Wow.
Yeah, that's what they're
saying. There's only one reason why you turn to mudslinging. It's still to this day. I just like it. It's still infuriating.
It was hurtful.
Yeah, absolutely. It is. But then there's the other side of that is we live in a culture in which we have been raised to assign shame to things like poverty, things like houselessness, things like drug addiction, mental illness, criminal records. Like there's a reason why Oregon passed the ban the box law. In Oregon, you can no longer ask an employee if they've ever been convicted of a crime outside of very specific circumstances. So not only were they trying to sling mud and get at my character and my trustworthiness, but then there's this, see, she must be morally bad. And I still believe, and my first reaction that night with CoffeeZilla was, you're not going to shame me into silence. There's nothing in my past that I am ashamed of. There's nothing in my past that I haven't learned from, that I haven't grown from, that doesn't have a place in the person that I am now. You can't bring up anything that's going to shut me up. It's going to do the opposite. At this point, I'm genuinely expecting, oh, we found an ex-boyfriend. At this point, I would not.
And he says, Chris is a liar.
I would not be surprised if it devolved into this. And I'm like, listen, I'll tell you right now, the string of red flags in my past should have told me immediately that if it seems like too good of a deal, it's too good of a deal.
You're selling a certain shirt on your website that my team got a huge kick out of. Tell us about the shirt.
Yeah, tell everybody why you're angry about this shirt.
Listen, I design 99.9% of the items on our store as the executive merchandising director of Not a Pipe Publishing. Most of those designs are mine. Ben designed the Schrodinger's U-Haul shirt. It is now our best-selling design. And that makes me mad.
Yeah.
In all honesty, it makes me thrilled that people got a kick out of it and are buying it. I love that.
All right, I have one last question. The world wants to know, is the bird safe?
I don't know.
Yeah.
We do not know.
We don't know what happened.
We don't know. So I watched a couple of days after they took the store. There was one security camera that remained pointing at the dumpsters. And I watched a couple of days later, Josh load Tattle's cage in the back of his truck with a bunch of garbage. I could not get a clear view whether the Tattle was still in there or not. I called animal control with a concern because it's a born in captivity domesticated bird with his wings clipped in the middle of November in Oregon, outside in the elements if he's in the cage. And I never heard anything back from that. We never got any word from corporate saying we've changed our mind. You can now come take the bird. We've never from anything until that video that came out where they said he took it to a shelter. We're still trying to get information from corporate to provide, because in Oregon, you cannot surrender any animal at any shelter without paying a fee, signing a contract, and like giving your information. So that's part of the thing that we're having our attorney ask for them as we go into this discovery is
what shelter?
Where did
like,
Tattle come from? Like, was Tattle your bird before, or was the shop's bird? Like, what's the story?
Well, it's one of the first things that I did after we bought the store, because this is going to be in my dream, like in my dreams, when I went, if I had the dream job, what would it be? Mine was always a cozy little bookstore, coffee shop that had a shop pet. And that was always my, like, if I ever won the lottery and I got my dream job, right? Lego store wasn't quite the same, but it was also one of these silly things of like, I always imagined if I owned my own business, it would have its own little mascot, right? And so I kind of like, I went to the...
They stole her bird?
That's what it sounds like.
What do you think they did with it? You think they just set it free?
Maybe.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, they don't sound like very nice people.
No.
Pet store, and there were 2 parakeets, and I was like, okay, this seems perfect. And so we had Tattle and Tail that a staff member named based off of I think like an anime or something. I don't actually know how they came up with that name. Pretty sure it was an anime. Originally, Tattle had a partner who ended up getting sick and did not survive any treatments from that. And so at some point, once we made sure that Tattle wasn't also going to be sick, because this was just a couple months before, which the pet store and the vet said was fairly normal when you have birds that were born in captivity and moved to different locations. So we were just kind of like making sure that Tattle was going to be okay. And then I would have brought in another friend for him. But part of that conversation last night with both Brandon and Kai was, who does the bird belong to? And me making the mistake, and this is hindsight, making the mistake of like, I purchased the bird, like I purchased Tattle in the cage and all the supplies with the store card and on the store's pet account.
And also, and people have been very critical of, why didn't you take the bird? And we understand, we're pet owners, we love our dogs, our cats, like but
I made what I thought was the best decision. Again, you never think that you're leaving somebody in charge of the store that's going to act
the way they act.
Regardless, and if people want to criticize, they can criticize. However, I'd ask the following question to all those people. If they didn't want the bird, why would they take it to a shelter instead of calling you guys up to see if you or a former worker or anyone else would want the bird, that the bird knows and they know the bird, like to just take it to a shelter?
Said,
that's the
listen,
thing. We knew
know
the employees had, good, loved the bird and would take
knew how to take care.
Knew how to take care.
It was a shared
we were
employee task.
Leaving the store's bird with the employees who loved that bird and would take good care of it.
Well, and
right. If they didn't want their employees to be caring for that bird in their store, they could have called us.
The incoming individual said, "Hey, don't forget your bird," and she says, "Your problem now."
I'm gonna step in here because I accept criticism, right? You can't grow as a person without accepting criticism. Ben's natural inclination is always to defend me. Yeah. And as a partner, as his wife, I appreciate it. But when you're all over the internet, sometimes there's this pull between I want to defend myself, but also I don't want to feel like I'm like there's a lack of accountability. And there's a big part of all of this. I'm gonna cry.
Yeah.
Okay. There's a big part of this that feels like it speaks to so much more that is happening in our world today, where if people were taking accountability for what they did. I don't begrudge anybody. I'm not upset at anybody who has any kind of criticism about how I left the store, about how I handled Brian's consignment, about what happened with Tattle. I made what I thought at every step was the right choice, was the best choice, from not calling the police that night, from leaving Tattle in the store. There's these choices that I made. People are like, you could have put them in a box and taken them in your car. You could have held them in your hand. You could have, like, any number of things that you could have done.
You could have taken more pictures, and you could have done countless other things. They, on the other hand, could have given you more than minutes to decide, to prepare, to avoid all of these situations. So I'm not saying you acted perfectly. You acted under time pressure with no warning. They acted, if what you think happened can be verified, they acted with total foresight and planning to reduce your ability. So that doesn't mean you didn't make a bunch of mistakes. It doesn't mean you can't be open to those mistakes you made, but you do have to give yourself the room to say, I made mistakes, but the situation I was in may have contributed to those. For instance, had I had a month, I wouldn't have still had this stuff if everything would have been documented.
Had I had a month, Brian would have been everything would have been returned to
None
Brian.
of this happens.
None of this would have happened if the next day corporate had reached out to us and said, hey, the new owners don't want the bird. Would you like to come and pick up Tattle?
On my way.
I would have said, absolutely. Do you want me to pay for him because he's a store bird? If they had said, we've got this guy named Brian coming in and we have some questions about this. How can you help us? For a year and a half, we heard nothing. We reached out through our attorney in December of 2024 saying, hey, we're exercising our right to mediation. We want to have a meeting with you. This is a month later. And corporate's response was, well, yeah, you have this right. But if you do this, we're going to sue you for $200,000. And then our lawyer saying, oh, yeah, you need to find a different lawyer in Utah.
If we go the legal route, it's going to be a very expensive battle for you. And it's not going to be a good position for you guys to get into.
Every step of the way, the person that could, I sound defensive again, but every step of the way, the people that could have prevented everything actively did everything they could.
Well, it looks like a pattern. I don't know what the worst part of this whole process has been, but it's probably been talking to me. So I just want to thank you guys, honestly, for giving us this much time.
And if people want to research dirt on me, they really should read all my books, right? I mean, that's where you'll find the dirt, I think. So read all my book.
In fact, if you read deeply into them, the secret code of what happened is found by buying all the books you've written.
Yes.
That's
this
really,
page and that page. From
that's really our grand master plan. We planned all of this out.
Yes.
All of this out.
As a book marketing campaign.
Yeah.
Really. Thank you guys again. Good luck with everything. I hope justice is done all the way around when all is said and done. And good luck.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
All right.
They seem really nice.
Yeah, they seem really nice and very believable.
Yes.
I don't doubt them for a second. Do you want to play maybe a little palate cleanser? Do you have a video for me? And then we got one more. We'll wrap this up.
Love those
I love it. I love it. Wonder what their names are. Nimrod and Abdul.
I know this. I knew it at one point. I'll get back to you on that.
Okay. So I'm going to move on to the David thing.
Yeah.
Lauren Conlon has been doing amazing reporting on this. So I'm going to read a text thread between David and Celeste.
Oh.
When he's 19 and she's 13. June 19th, 2024. Celeste, your mom knows we had sex yet. And David says, she thinks that's the first thing we gonna do when we see each other. And then more. They talk about more referring to their abortion. August 30th, 2024. Celeste, realistically, I care about you. I killed my kid first, you. And then David said, it has to be the right time with the least complications. Celeste said, I still would have been there for it. David said, yeah, selfishly, because it would have also been mine. Celeste said, David, I'm going to have to lie to people around me, even my kid, for the rest of my life. Celeste said, I don't like talking about it because it gets me really upset, but I'd do it again. We're talking about the abortion.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
It's
like
wild.
there are a lot of texts. So many. I don't want to read anymore. I mean, it's just confirming. It's sad. It's just confirming like he was doing something extremely illegal with this kid. So
yeah, dude, and reprehensible morally.
So do you remember when like early on in the investigation, before David was arrested, there was a private investigator that the owner of the home, and I saw him talk on a couple shows. He's on Joel Waldman's show, Surviving the Survivor.
Right.
Great show. He's on there a lot, and he talked to Brian Enton quite a few times. Really interesting. And he found inside like a chainsaw and the burn cage and like other evidence that I guess the police weren't taking, and called them up and was basically like, hey, do you want this stuff?
Yeah.
Yeah. So he does a new interview and he's being treated really poorly.
Oh, yeah?
Oh, really, really poorly. So by the prosecutor. I mean, you should be nice. He's helped you.
Yeah.
Anyway, here is that. It looks like it's not that long. It's only going to be about 15 minutes.
I'm just curious from a technical side to see how.
Can you hear that okay?
Yeah.
Yeah. So talking about handling things, Steve Fisher handled it really well, but Steve Fisher was in the courtroom when this pit bull of a DA, Beth Silverman, says to the judge, I want that guy out of there, pointing to Steve Fisher. Steve, what happened? When did this happen? Yesterday?
No, this was this morning. Yeah, so so I have to give a little bit of backstory, otherwise it won't make sense. But so
please.
You know, this crime was discovered back in September of 2025, and I was hired by the homeowner where David was living and the Tesla was parking, and then possibly that this crime happened at. And there was little to no movement on this case for a very long time. You know, we found evidence at the house, like we found an SD card from a camera that, you know, he had left behind. We recovered all the photos, a burn cage, a chainsaw that had not been taken during a search warrant. The house directly across the street had a 4 terabyte hard drive surveillance system that LAPD never came back and retrieved. They said they were going to, and the homeowners were like, it's going to overwrite like tomorrow. So we took it, and you know, so we got vocal, but we were like they wouldn't talk to us privately. They were just like, oh, you know, leave a message. And so we got vocal. The homeowner was like, you know, we need to change the mission from, you know, finding out like why this guy was in my house, because he didn't lease the house to David. He leased it to Josh Marshall. And he's like, I have no idea who this David is. Now all of a sudden my house is wrapped up in this murder. So he's like, but we need to change the mission from finding out like who he is to like making sure that nothing falls through cracks, like in this girl like gets justice, because it doesn't seem like a whole hell of a lot is happening. And so we pressed, you know, and we put stuff out there as we felt.
I just want to say really quick, like how awesome it is that the owner took it upon himself to hire a private investigator to make sure like everything was okay.
Yeah.
He just said to make sure that this helped to make sure this girl gets justice and nothing was missed. I mean, he had to pay a lot of money to do that, and he didn't have to.
No, he didn't have to do anything at all. He could have just turned the other cheek.
Right. And just let the police handle it where they missed all this evidence, you know, have a private investigator come in and give it a thorough look.
Well, isn't the owner the one that called out the whole thing to begin with?
I don't think so. What do you mean called out the whole thing?
Because of the car that was there.
No, I think a neighbor called and had it towed.
Oh, okay. All right.
We needed for it to get traction, and it finally did, you know, and Beth Silverman, the DA, did not like the fact that we disclosed that there was evidence left behind that we thought was important, right? And she's like, you know, people don't need to know that, whatever. So she didn't like the fact that I was doing interviews. So all of a sudden, and I'm just disclosing this now because she brought it up in court today. So she's the one who let the cat out of the bag.
Yeah.
But
well, I think she said that you were a witness the way I read it.
That's let the cat out of the bag about that. That's why I haven't talked about the grand jury, but now she put it out on the record. So back in November, I had 6 in the morning, I had 2 DA detectives show up at my door and subpoena me as a grand jury witness. And I appeared. And but what was strange about that was they immediately said, you have to call Beth Silverman right now. And I did. And she told me, now that you've been subpoenaed, you can never, ever talk about this case again to anybody, including your own client. You can never bring it up again or you're going to jail. And I was like,
you know what? I haven't seen him on any shows lately. So that makes sense. But why is she trying to silence him? Because he's making her look bad?
Yeah, that's what he said.
That's ridiculous.
She didn't like that he mentioned that they left evidence
and I
behind.
didn't, you know, I haven't dealt with grand juries and stuff like that, but I started researching the law, you know, because it was only 6:30 in the morning, so I can call attorneys that I know. And I saw, well, as a witness, you actually, the secrecy is for the grand jurors. A witness can talk about their own testimony. They can't talk about anything they've learned from a grand jury. But I was like, and so I clarified with her. I'm like, wait, I have a client. Like, so you can't talk about the case, period. You go to jail. And but I found out that was wrong. And I testified, and she's the one who brought it up today. And then what she did is she subpoenaed me again and say, well, you're still under subpoena now. So for 2 months from now. So can't talk about the case. And I told her, and I appeared a second time, and then the same thing happened again on the third time. And I told her, I said, I'm not going to, I said, I am talking about the case again. And I know that what you're telling me is inaccurate. And she handed me, which I put on Twitter, a handwritten note saying that I had to appear in court on Tuesday for a order to show cause hearing for talking for talking. And I'm like, can I get a case number? She's like, there's not a case number. Just show up. I'm like, it's a handwritten note. This is not this. And she's like, you need to be there, or there'll be a warrant issued. And so I and she said, this is for contempt. And I'm like, well, can I see? Like, I need to know what I'm defending myself against on Tuesday, Friday. I'm like, you're telling me I got to be here Tuesday. And so what I did, I was supposed to leave town, and I did leave town, but I FedExed a letter to the court because she gave me it was in Division 105 or whatever, and I said, I'm not going to show up for these reasons. I have not been, I don't have a case number. It's a handwritten note. And the other thing is that I put it down on Twitter, and I said, the only way I can see I can protect myself from this possibly being thrown in jail secretly is to let the press know about it. Right. And so Tuesday came, and they did show up, and there was apparently, like, I wasn't on the docket, but there was like a courtroom that they were expecting me to possibly show up at. So, and after that, I never heard. So anyway, I have to tell that story because when and since then I've showed up at the arraignment and other stuff like that, and she's seen me in the room. I've gotten some dirty looks or whatever. Yesterday, I did not draw a ticket, but I was in the hallway outside the courtroom, and I was talking to someone, and this gentleman came up to me in a suit, and he said, Steve, I want to introduce myself. I'm Patrick Steinfeld. I'm the attorney for Celeste Rivas' family. And I was like, okay. So we stepped in the middle of the hallway, and he said, I just want to thank you for what you've done. You kept the story alive when people wouldn't, even though you've taken some shots at the family, at the mom and dad for, he's like, I get it. And he's like, but they want to thank you too. And I was like, I asked how they were doing, and because the case really has touched me. And he told me, and then all of a sudden I see Beth Silverman storming down the hallway, and she came and physically grabbed him, yanked him away from me, and said, you are not allowed to talk to him. You are not allowed to. Start yelling at him. So I was like, and she did it in front of all these reporters. I was like, what in the world is going on? So then today I do draw a ticket to get in, and I'm seated, and they go on the record, start case. And there's another matter before me of somebody that was live streaming or live tweeting from whatever. And then the judge says, is there any other matters before we call the first witness? And Beth said, yes. There's a private investigator here that I want thrown out. He was a witness to the grand jury, and he failed to appear. And he failed to appear, and there's a warrant for his arrest. Both those things are completely untrue. And she goes, and he illegally approached the witnesses, Celeste Rivas' family, out in the hallway when he knew he's not allowed to talk to any witnesses. And so the judge kind of stopped her and said, she said, listen, any matters of the grand jury, just stop. Don't stop talking about it. She's like, Mr. Fisher, if you were potentially going to be called as a witness, you were on the grand jury, she can use the exclusionary rule. I'm going to have to ask you to leave. She was very, very professional and kind about it. And I said, Your Honor, I completely understand. And I started to walk away, and then Beth kept talking to the bail. It's like, go back to the front of the courtroom. I went back, and she was saying something, and then I said, can I put something? I said, Your Honor, can I put something on the record? And she's like, if it has anything to do with the grand jury, please don't. I'm like, no, it doesn't. I said, but I was just accused of approaching witnesses illegally, and so I said, I just want to make it clear, because Patrick Steinfeld was in the courtroom. I said, he came up to me, and then she turned around. I was looking at her. She turned around in her chair and looked at him and said, what the fuck? And then Steinfeld stood up and said, Your Honor, I just want to clarify. I did approach Mr. Fisher, and I didn't know he was a member of the grand jury, or was this going to be a problem? And then I found out, and I left. And then I guess after I left, she said, you keep pushing me, I'm going to yank your badge, see what happens to Steinfeld. And, so I don't know. It was very bizarre. She clearly told me that I would never be called as a witness. She's like, it was used as a method to jam me up. So she thought I wouldn't know my rights and I wouldn't talk to the press. And so I'm, but anyway, that's kind of what went down, just to clarify it, and
wow. Well, that was a pretty detailed account. The Silver Fox has entered the building. Josh Ritter, host of Courtroom Confidential, former LA Prosecutor of the Year, knows Beth Silverman, and a criminal defense attorney. Josh Ritter, you missed the beginning of the story, but the bottom line is Steve Fisher, who, at one point, his client is the mansion owner. And we find out that subsequently he was a witness in the for the grand jury, but he shows up in court today, and Beth Silverman throws a conniption, goes ballistic on him and Patrick Steinfeld, the attorney for Celeste Rivas Hernandez. What is happening here? Beth Silverman sounds like she is scary individual. What do you read between the lines?
I mean, that's it. In between the lines, she's a scary individual. She's no one to mess around with. I've known her for 20-something years. She's as hard as they come, and that's why she's got a case like this. I don't know the circumstances. I read a little bit about Steve, what happened with you earlier. It was earlier today, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I read some article online about it a little bit. I mean, I don't know the particulars, and I don't know why it was so upsetting to Beth, obviously, but I do know that usually they have motions to exclude people who have been, witnesses either in the grand jury or potentially at any point. I don't know if that's what got her so triggered about the whole thing, but I will say, dealing with a death penalty case with the kind of media scrutiny that this one is under, you can understand why probably tensions are running high, and why she might be, just especially sensitive to what she may feel is, I don't know. I don't know if she felt it was inappropriate or if she's just trying to safeguard her case and make sure that nothing happens that can later on be pointed at and say, this was inappropriate. But, just based on what you're telling us, that is what I'm gathering from the whole thing. Sorry, I'm late, by the way.
And I can understand that. The one thing that I didn't appreciate from her was that she said in front of the press pool that I had broken the law and there was a warrant out for my arrest because of it. And that's not true. The bailiff came up to me as he's organized, like, there's no warrant for it. So, stuff like that, the press is going to believe her, which is the deputy DA. And I think things like that are inappropriate. She said, that because I illegally violated the secrecy of the grand jury. I have not bound any, the secret, the secrecy that the grand jurors are, and I didn't disclose it anyways. But anyway, it's not I don't want to take away from it's Celeste's. It's the beginning of justice for Celeste, and that's why I just laughed. I said, Your Honor, I understand I'm out. So I do. Listen, as long as that courtroom is still operating and it's the wheels of justice are turning, I'm completely happy.
But when she said, "I'm going to pull your badge," was she talking to the attorney or to you?
The attorney, because he's got a DA. A badge, meaning to get into the DA's got a certain amount of seats in the courtroom, and he's there with Celeste's family. So he threatened to pull. She said, "You keep pressing me." This is according to the reporters on Fox News that said that you keep pressing me. You see what happens. I'll pull your badge.
She sounds nice.
Yeah.
Yeah. She sounds like a lot of fun. That's probably the guy that spoke on her behalf is probably correct. It's a very high risk case.
Spoke on her behalf.
The one guy with the white hair that
Josh
knows
Ritter.
her.
He said very specifically that he wasn't speaking on her behalf.
What I meant was the person who spoke to her perspective.
Oh, yeah. I mean, they're both prosecutors in the same office. Like they know each other. So he could speak as to why she might do that. But
what he was saying, I give credibility to. It's a high profile case. And so there's a lot of tension, I'm sure. There's a lot of stress about it. And I can understand being really
she doesn't
stressed
want
out.
anything to mess up her case.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
But she took it out on the wrong guy. Don't take it out on the private eye guy. Like, he's just doing his thing. He's not trying to hurt anybody.
Yeah. He seems like a good private eye, too.
Seems like a nice guy.
But he does like to go on YouTube shows.
Well, I mean, can you blame him?
Or, no, I don't blame him. I would do the same thing.
Exactly.
Anyway, I am ready to terminate this date because I am tired.
Well,
and we've been at it for like 2.5 hours.
That's right. And it's late. It's past your bedtime. So
My bedtime's when we start at 8.
Let's look at some cats.